There have been great champions in every generation. Fighters that define grit, determination, and courage. Men who shine brightest when facing the longest odds. Who, in their quest to be the #1...
For me, to become a two-division champion, it means legacy. Legacy stays forever.
Will turn the course of history.
Yeah, I don't worry about legacy. You know, I'm just gonna keep winning.
To find themselves facing one another. Tonight, the grandest prize in sports is on the line, the heavyweight crown. Where two of the baddest, most decorated champions in UFC history are set to battle. But first, opposites collide at lightweight as an aggressive submission artist tries to get a stranglehold on the division against one of the most electrifying strikers of his era. Then, reinforcements are needed. Two of the heavyweight division's scariest enforcers, who inspire fear with every blow, will test the threshold of the power in their hands. And finally, it's champion versus champion in a clash of epic proportions, as the UFC's light heavyweight champion returns to his original weight class to make his play at history.
All good things come to an end, and I'm gonna be the one to beat Stipe Miocic.
To solidify his name as one of the greatest of all time, against the man who is already there. The heavyweight champion of the world, the man who has taken the division's best shots.
Oh, that is it! Stipe Miocic! Big shots!
Down the most ferocious.
It is all over!
Taken out the scariest, while rewriting the record books.
But that win's gonna make me, the champ again. Nothing's gonna change. Another day in the office.
Tonight, from Las Vegas, Nevada, it's UFC 226, Miocic versus Cormier. And it starts right now.
A good evening to you from a sweltering fight capital of the world. The stars have aligned for International Fight Week 2018, and now in a few short hours, the super fight of all super fights will be upon us. Live inside T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, USA, this is UFC 226, Miocic versus Cormier. Sponsored by Modelo Especial, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925. Closed captioning is available for tonight's telecast. The broadcast is also available in Spanish, brought to you by UFCEspanol.com. What an atmosphere here in Las Vegas tonight. I'm John Anik. Thank you so much for being with us for UFC 226. Joe Rogan, Dominic Cruz on hand. Of course, tonight was also to feature the UFC Featherweight Championship between Max Holloway and Brian Ortega. Holloway fell ill earlier this week, unable to compete tonight.
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate turn of events. We don't know exactly what's wrong with Max Holloway, but we do know that the UFC has a very strong policy of safety first. They pulled him out of the fight. He was experiencing some symptoms that seemed to be concussion-like. They're not exactly sure if it was related to the weight cut. They will send him through a battery of tests, but unfortunately he has been removed from the card.
That's why it's one of the safest sports in the world, believe it or not, this sport, because we're watching everything. And don't forget, no fighter wants to leave a card after putting in a full training camp and not collecting their paycheck. Max Holloway is not happy about this. He did not want it. He is not to blame for this.
Well, the good news is the super fight remains, and tonight for the first time in the illustrious history of the UFC, the light heavyweight champion will move up to challenge the heavyweight champion. The champion is Stipe Miocic, the baddest man on the planet. He's really set a new standard for this division since becoming the champ in 2016. He believes he's coming out the way he came in as the champ.
He is the most accomplished heavyweight champion in the history of this sport. He's a man who's beaten the best of the best that they put in front of him. Knocked out Fabricio Verdum, knocked out Junior Dos Santos, knocked out Alistair Overeem, and the only man that's been able to beat this guy, Francis Ngannou. What we're seeing in this man is the best of the best heavyweight we have ever seen so far. But I think he's facing his toughest competition ever tonight, and absolutely the best wrestler he's ever faced in his career in Daniel Cormier.
In my opinion, there's one man that's close to Stipe Miocic, and it was Cain Velasquez. And that is the #1 man that Daniel Cormier has had to train with to prepare for a true heavyweight in Stipe Miocic. So don't you think for 1 second that Cormier doesn't know what a real heavyweight feels like. He's been training one with this entire camp.
So in terms of the enormity of what Daniel Cormier is trying to accomplish here tonight, in the history of the UFC, there have been 4 two-division champions. So we'll set up that history for you a little bit. Back in 1997, it was Randy Couture winning the heavyweight championship over Maurice Smith. Then September of 2003, 6 years later, Couture became the first man to win a title in multiple divisions. January 2004, BJ Penn in his welterweight debut won a title. November of 06, GSP, a welterweight champ. BJ Penn joined Couture years later. 2015, DC gets into the mix. And then, of course, Conor McGregor with that 13-second knockout of Jose Aldo. 11 months later, he knocks out Eddie Alvarez. And then GSP returned from the 4-year hiatus. He became the middleweight champion, all leading up to Daniel Cormier tonight, who will try to become the 5th two-weight world champion, Dom, and join McGregor as the only simultaneous two-division champion in UFC history.
To be a two-division champion is something different because you're going up a weight class. For you at home, you don't understand what that really means when it comes to the grappling aspect of things. When it comes to straight striking, it's a little different. When you're adding the wrestling that Daniel Cormier needs, that Stipe Miocic uses and needs, it makes a huge difference when you're carrying and utilizing that weight in the grappling scenarios. Your energy goes quicker, you're carrying weight differently, timing is different. But Daniel Cormier does believe he has a speed advantage. And with the right game plan, staying in the chest of Miocic, he has a real chance in this matchup.
And Daniel Cormier coming in the heavier man tonight by a few pounds against Stipe Miocic. Co-main event tonight, guys, also in the heavyweight division. They have reinforced the bolts on the octagon for Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis. Dom, 2 of the biggest power hitters in the game.
Yeah, I mean, these guys hit so hard. You could probably hear it at the top up there when they land. It sounds like you're throwing watermelons and hitting them with hammers. It is hard, and I saw both of these gentlemen fight and knock out people right in front of me several times. And I'll tell you what, Ngannou hits harder than anyone I've ever heard. When he lands punches, people pay for it. He's very good at distance. He's deceivably quick. And more than anything, I think we're going to see that he doesn't get as tired as we've seen him in that last fight against Stipe. I think he's made the adjustment. That loss, I truly believe, is going to make him one of the hardest people in the world to beat. And we're going to find out tonight when he faces Derek Lewis, because Derek Lewis has dynamite in both hands. He's extremely game. And more than anything, he's a street mentality, so there's not 1 second this man is going to back down from Ngannou, no matter how scary he is.
What I like about this fight is that Derek Lewis asked for it. Not just that you're dealing with 2 dynamic knockout artists in the biggest of the biggest division in MMA, but that Derek Lewis thinks that Francis Ngannou's overrated. He thinks he can take the shots, and he thinks he can get him into deep water and drown him. Derek Lewis has far more experience inside the octagon. He's faced some very, very tough competition, but he thinks he's got the mentality to overcome and dominate Francis Ngannou.
Now, this was very interesting at the weigh, and this was as extended a stare down as we've seen in recent memory. Joe, you were right there for it, and eventually Ngannou whispered something to Derek Lewis that drew the ire of one black beast.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he said, "You're going to sleep," and we're going to see it right here. He leans towards him when they were staring at each other, and Derek goes, "What?" He goes, "You're going to sleep." And then they got heated, and Derek wound up pushing him. This is going to be a phenomenal fight, and I can't wait to see it. And I have no idea what's going to happen.
And the look on Dana White's face as if to say, can we just get to fight night already? The good news is we are here. It has been a wild fight week as usual in Las Vegas, but several great matchups coming up. The rest of the card is brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3. Get the new limited time Icon Edition on Xbox One and PS4 until July 17th and receive exclusive in-game content. Plus 5 new playable Icon fighters, including Kimbo Slice, Tito Ortiz, and more. Lightweight contender Paul Felder was getting ready for a co-main event in Boise, Idaho next Saturday, but the call came in for this short-notice, high-profile welterweight opportunity tonight. With the momentum of 3 consecutive knockouts, the Irish Dragon will try his hands and his elbows up a division tonight as he takes on fellow striker and crowd pleaser Platinum Mike Perry. Perry has 11 professional wins, all of them by knockout, and after moving his training camp to Jackson Wink MMA Academy in Albuquerque, New Mexico, confidence is high that platinum will deliver the goods once again tonight. Also ahead tonight at lightweight, Michael Chiesa will be under the bright lights for the first time in more than a year. He has made full use of the UFC's Performance Institute here in Vegas, and tonight, seemingly hungrier than ever, Chiesa chases the biggest win of his career, as he draws the former 155-pound champion Anthony Showtime Pettis. Still just 31 years old, Pettis was a picture of focus here during fight week. He is as confident in his skills as any fighter in the division, and tonight, Pettis expects to give Chiesa a heavy dose of showtime. But coming up next, kickboxing sensation Gokhan Saki gets his first taste of the UFC pay-per-view spotlight. His UFC debut last year, a case of mission accomplished. Tonight, he'll try to make it back-to-back knockouts against aggressive southpaw Khalil Roundtree Jr., a fast starter who called for this matchup against the former kickboxing champion. Tonight, he is out to show the world why. All right, let's get to the rules of the Octagon. 3 judges score the fight. The bout duration is 3 5-minute rounds. For championship fights and all UFC main events, we go 5 5-minute rounds. A 10-point must-scoring system is in effect. The round winner gets 10 points, his or her opponent 9 or fewer, and scoring is based on effective striking and grappling, followed by aggression, and then Octagon control in that order. The Nevada State Athletic Commission has not adopted the new unified rules. We will have the limited use of instant replay tonight, but only to look at a fight-ending sequence. So once replay is invoked, that particular fight cannot be restarted. As you might expect, the fighters have been made aware. UFC 226 is brought to you in high definition by The Equalizer 2 in theaters July 20th. There is no equal. All right, let us get to this loaded main card. Great to have you with us, as always, on pay-per-view tonight. A legendary striker now attacking the world of mixed martial arts. Gokhan Saki vows to deliver yet another highlight tonight as he draws the also hard-hitting Khalil Roundtree Jr. Following a spectacular UFC debut, kickboxing icon Gokhan Saki now looks to go 2 for 2 as he faces fellow striker Khalil Roundtree Jr. in a light heavyweight matchup fans and both men have been anticipating since the Rebel first came to the big show.
I'm the guy that's going to derail Gokhan Saki because he's not ready for this game.
Khalil likes to stand up. I'm a stand-up fighter, but this is MMA. I'm ready for everything.
Las Vegas's Khalil Roundtree Jr. introduced himself to the world on season 23 of The Ultimate Fighter, knocking out 2 foes en route to the season final. And he has continued to make waves with his power, knocking out Daniel Jolly and Paul Craig to set up tonight's showdown with an opponent he won't have to look hard to find.
In this fight, I see myself controlling the entire fight and it being the best fight that anybody's ever seen me put on.
Winner of 83 pro kickboxing bouts, 59 of them by knockout. Turkey's Gokhan Saki showed off his stand-up prowess against Enrique da Silva last September and left Japan with all he came for, a first-round knockout and the performance bonus to go with it. Now, with much fanfare, he will put his fists and feet to work again opposite another dangerous threat.
Last fight, you guys only see the 33%, and tonight you guys gonna see the 100%.
All right, so here's Khalil Roundtree Jr. making the walk for his 6th UFC appearance here tonight. And Joe, you said not a lot of people banging up Nick Maynard's phone to call out Francis Ngannou. I would imagine they don't get a lot of calls on Gokhan Saki, but Roundtree Jr. wanted this fight. He's going to try to embrace the full 15 minutes tonight.
Well, Roundtree Jr. thinks that he can do it. He thinks that he has a full package. Gokhan Saki comes in here with impeccable kickboxing credentials, but this isn't kickboxing. And Khalil thinks that he has the skill set to be able to take Gokhan Saki out of his comfort zone and impose his game on him. And he's very, very confident coming in here tonight.
Yeah, Roundtree thinks that he knows that Saki has the stand-up edge, but he truly believes that if he mixes in the grappling, he can throw Saki's game off with that stand-up. And it's true. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. We've seen pure strikers that are the best in the world come in here and look look a little bit lost when the takedowns start getting put on them. They get held on their back for maybe half of the round. Things change. So the question is, can Khalil Roundtree take this man down, hold him there, throw off his rhythm, and get him out of his comfort zone? Saki is very, very, very comfortable and fluent on his feet.
Roundtree Jr. has made some changes. He said, I had to get my complete MMA game intact. So having trained at Syndicate MMA under John Wood and primarily at the UFC PI, now he's in California. You see Kenny Johnson in his corner. And I think that speaks to the approach here tonight. Saki's expecting that Roundtree Jr. is going to try to ground him early and often. And perhaps that is sort of what led to Roundtree Jr. making the training camp change.
Yeah, very, very likely he's going to incorporate grappling into this, and I think that would be a wise thing to do, even if he plans on winning by striking.
Right.
I mean, Gokhan did not look invincible in his fight with Enrique Silva. He looked like he had some vulnerabilities. He's still learning the MMA game, but make no mistake about it, he's the most dangerous kickboxer in this division. But again, this isn't kickboxing.
You gotta use every weapon in this sport, Joe. I'll say it over and over again. Use every weapon you have. If you're fighting a guy that's just boxing and he's not using kicks, knees, and takedowns, that man is limited. So Roundtree needs to use his MMA technique. He needs to use every aspect if you're gonna beat a guy like Saki.
So here is the decorated kickboxer, Gokhan Saki. Joe, I don't know how many of his 96 kickboxing matches you have ingested, but I know it's a lot of them, and you're excited to see what he can do tonight.
Yeah, I am a gigantic fan of this man as a kickboxer. He is absolutely one of the most technical strikers this division has ever seen. He is a phenomenal striker and combat sports athlete that's just learning how to fight in MMA. But if you're standing with this guy, you're dealing with a left hand from hell. You're dealing with kicks that come at a speed you've probably never seen before. And the IQ, the striking IQ, that's just off the charts. You're talking about a guy who's beaten some of the best in kickboxing, as high as heavyweight. The guy's much, much bigger than him, and he beat them with speed and technique.
Saki said to me, I talked to him, I said, what do you think of Roundtree stand-up? It looks pretty good. He said, this man's stand-up is nothing. In 20 seconds, I saw more holes in his game than he could fill in a lifetime. I have 22 years in this sport striking. I'm going to make him look like he's in mud the entire fight. He looked at me straight in the eyes and didn't even look away, didn't deviate. It was intense. This is an intense individual. He believes wholeheartedly in the power in his hands. And you're exactly right about that left hand. Really, people at home, watch his left hook. It is one of the nastiest left hooks on earth, period, plain simple.
And it comes in 2s and 3s, and it comes fast, and it comes at all angles.
And that's not to mention that he sets it all up with his high kicks. So if you decide to stay at range and you don't want to touch his hands, he'll throw a kick at you so that you start coming in, and then you walk right into his powerful hands. He's got to really worry about the takedowns, though. That's something that he has to be ready for, because even if not in this matchup, if he's going to continue to move up the ladder, I guarantee you the takedowns and the grappling is going to be an issue if he doesn't fill those gaps himself.
It's amazing to think that initially his dad wouldn't let him kickbox. He was a high-level soccer player. He would smuggle his kickboxing stuff into his soccer bag. That sounds like something you would do, Joe Rogan, by the way. So he skipped soccer practice, started taking kickboxing lessons. The rest is history, but he'll be the first to tell you. He spent a lot of time over the last 24 months trying to work on his overall MMA game. Feels like he exhausted everything he can do in the kickboxing realm. He doesn't want to take part. He wants to be a UFC champion. I think tonight is a very good test to see just how far along he is towards that initiative.
He's also had a knee injury that he's been nursing, and it's been 10 months since we've seen him inside the octagon.
Knee injuries suck.
Gokhan Saki touching down on that UFC canvas for a second time here tonight. This Tale the Tape is brought to you by Modelo Especial, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925. Saki 34, Roundtree Jr. 28. Khalil 1 inch taller. He will have a 3.5-inch reach advantage. All right, now for the official introductions for this main card opener, we turn it over to Bruce Buck.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas for UFC 226. Miocic versus Cormier. Presented by Modelo Especial, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925. And now, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC light heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record. 7 wins, 2 losses, 1 no contest. He stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 205 pounds. Fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, Khalil Roundtree Jr. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a kickboxer holding a professional record, 1 win, 1 loss. He stands 6 feet tall, weighing in at 206 pounds. Fighting out of Kars, Turkey, Gökhan the Rebel Saki. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Jason Herzog.
Respected veteran referee Jason Herzog draws this assignment. The beautiful Brittany Palmer getting us started for round 1 of a possible 3. 5 wide with the Octagon girls here tonight on pay-per-view. Gökhan Saki.
First round, buddy, ready.
100 pro fights to his credit, taking on Khalil Roundtree Jr. Roundtree Jr. in white, Saki is in black. Tonight's Fight Clock is brought to you by Modelo Especial, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925.
Keep an eye out for that right high kick of Saki early on his southpaw Roundtree. That right high kick is going to be lethal.
Saki, the Glory light heavyweight champion back in 2014. A lot of kickboxing accolades and credentials.
We'll see Saki go early to the leg, then go to the body, then go high. There it is. And then that'll set up his left hook, which is what he's really wanting to land.
Stiff left lands for Roundtree Jr.
And Roundtree needs combinations just like he did there. The second Saki comes, combinations. Don't throw one at a time and you'll get countered by Saki all night.
Roundtree Jr., a natural striker. Going to be interesting to see how early he shoots tonight. Landed the right hand there.
Yeah, Roundtree's throwing some heat, but staying in the pocket against a guy like Gökhan Saki and just turning this into a kickboxing fight is very dangerous. Well, his best bet would be to get these exchanges going and then set up a takedown.
I agree with you, Joe. And I think that really it's just a matter of time. That's the problem when you do straight stand-up. Oh, he's got him! Big left hand! And that's it. He looks hurt, guys. That's it. As we were saying, Joe, he's got the right stuff him.
Unbelievable.
And that's the problem with 4-ounce gloves. Anybody can get knocked out.
Unbelievable.
Silenced everybody.
A stunner in Vegas tonight. Roundtree Jr. stops Gökhan Saki in round 1.
And Gökhan is trying to stand up and saying he's okay, but he's on rubber legs. That was intense. Wow, Khalil Roundtree Jr. shutting up everybody, including us.
What else are you going to say? I mean, you're saying if you stand up with this guy, you're going to get hurt. He fires a left hand down the middle with 4-ounce gloves. He says, I hurt him.
Incredible.
Awesome.
That is a giant, giant victory for Khalil Roundtree Jr. The way he did it, look at this here. Boom! Straight down the middle, perfectly placed left hand. And then drops the hammers on him until the fight is stopped. And how you see him at the end of the fight, he tried to get back up, but he's on rubber legs. Absolutely perfect stoppage. Khalil Roundtree Jr. just shocked the world. He just knocked out one of the best kickboxers alive today.
Period. Of all time. One of the best of all time. He just knocked him out.
And this is an evolving, mentally maturing Khalil Roundtree Jr. We said off the top he was going to embrace the 15 minutes here tonight. And notice the patience after the initial knockdown to not force the issue. Made those ground strikes count. Khalil Roundtree Jr. The official decision brought to you by Metro PCS. Get knockout coverage of the UFC on a network that covers 99% of people in the U.S. To make this one official, here now, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Jason Herzog has called a stop to this contest at 1 minute, 36 seconds of the very first round. Declaring the winner by knockout, Khalil Roundtree Jr.
I'm here with the winner, Khalil Roundtree Jr. You just shocked the world. Winning this fight and winning the way you did is an absolutely huge accomplishment, beating literally one of the best kickboxers ever with a straight left hand. How satisfying is that?
It's very satisfying, Joe. And you know what? Yes, he's a kickboxer, all this stuff. But people act like when I come in this cage that it doesn't just take one punch to lay somebody out. So here I am. I'm here. Let's go! Let's go!
Khalil, take a look at the big screen and enjoy this. This is a perfectly placed left hand. Now, conventional wisdom thought that if you were going to win this fight, you were going to win it on the ground. But that is just an absolutely perfectly placed left hand.
I'm not a ground fighter. I'm a striker. I'm here. I'm doing MMA. I went over to Black House with Kenny, worked my wrestling, worked my MMA. I'm developing all around. I'm new to this. I'm young to this. But you know what? That doesn't take away from the hard work that I put in every area. But this is the type of finishes I like to see. So let's do it.
Congratulations on a huge, huge victory. Khalil Roundtree Jr., ladies and gentlemen.
Happy birthday, Anthony.
That post-fight interview was brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3. Get the new limited time Icon Edition on Xbox One and PS4 until July 17th and receive exclusive in-game content plus 5 new playable Icon fighters, including Kimbo Slice, Tito Ortiz, and more. Khalil Roundtree Jr. putting the light heavyweight division on notice tonight with a stoppage of Gokhan Saki. There's the well-dressed Brian T-City Ortega alongside his boxing coach James Lurson. We will not see T-City in the octagon tonight, nor will we see that man, the Hall of Fame inductee Dan Hendo Henderson. Also in the building tonight, there he is, the proud New Yorker, former UFC middleweight champion, the All-American Chris Weidman.
Winning.
5 captivating stories, one for each year of the UFC's extraordinary history.
The long view of history is a series of short stories. Pieces of a puzzle that, assembled, help us understand it all. How the great ones rose, where they came from, and how they endure. What they fought for, what they did to survive, why they believed when no one else did, and how they forged a lasting legacy. If you thought you knew UFC history, this is the whole story in 25 parts. UFC 25 Years in Short, premiering in August, only on UFC Fight Pass.
Well, can't be the only one with goosebumps right now. That is going to be outstanding. 25 short films to document the seminal events, athletes, personalities, milestones, and moments of the UFC's incredible quarter-century run. UFC 25 Years in Short premieres this August, only on UFC Fight Pass. All right, as we get ready for this next matchup, these lightweight rankings brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3. Get the new limited time Icon Edition on Xbox One and PS4 until July 17th. And receive exclusive in-game content plus 5 new playable Icon fighters, including Kimbo Slice, Tito Ortiz, and more. So Joe, Michael Chiesa coming in number 9 in the world. Missed weight though for the first time on Friday. Says his future is going to be up at welterweight no matter how this one goes down tonight.
Yeah, I mean, this is a constant struggle. The weight cutting issues are huge in this sport, and Michael Chiesa, although he's never missed weight in his 20-year combat sports career, he did miss it yesterday, and so it's a real bummer. But this fight represents an up-and-coming guy looking for his shot at a championship, and another guy who was a former champion who's looking to regain past glory. Anthony Pettis, at one point in time, was one of the best in the sport, but has since fallen on hard times. But he's only 31 years of age. Right. It's not a physical thing. It may be that the sport has passed him, but it may be that he just needs to regroup, reassess, reinvigorate, and go back in, and that's what we're going to find out today.
Well, it'll be calculated aggression versus technical brilliance here. Chiesa trying to turn back the challenge of former world champion Anthony Showtime Pettis.
Michael Chiesa! Anthony Showtime Pettis!
Michael Chiesa versus Anthony Pettis is a big fight. This is a matchup of styles. Anthony Pettis is a guy that wants to stand on the outside, throw a lot of kicks, be very flashy, and try to trick you with some of his techniques, whereas Michael Chiesa, for as long as he is, he's a grinder. He's a guy that wants to take you down, he wants to make you grapple, and he wants to just make you work.
Michael Chiesa, it is all over!
I need to just walk this guy down, throw hard punches, beat him up, catch him, sub him. Just go for it and do what I do best. Walk him down, beat him up.
Chiesa pouring it on.
I fought the best at 155 pounds. I deserve to be the #1 guy at 155 pounds, and I'll make sure I show that to the world.
Showtime! Oh my goodness!
Anthony Pettis done everything to try to reinvent himself to the guy that did the Showtime kick.
He ran off the wall like a ninja!
Submitted Benson Henderson in the very first round.
Anthony Pettis is the UFC champion of the world!
The guy from the Wheaties box. If he wins, he puts himself right back in the top 10 of the division and starts working his way back towards the title shot.
Obviously, I'm not in here to be a contender or be a gatekeeper. I'm looking to be a champion, and one fight at a time, we'll get back to that belt.
Anthony Pettis chokes out Charles Oliveira!
For Chiesa, I always look to his mental strength. Michael Chiesa did The Ultimate Fighter. Chiesa was on this show for 15 weeks. The only live season of The Ultimate Fighter. He won the whole thing.
Michael Chiesa finishes the job. He is the Ultimate Fighter.
He looks at this opportunity against Anthony Pettis as a chance to start another win streak and hopefully earn a title shot that's eluded him for so long.
He's got it!
The tap. Michael Chiesa with the biggest win of his career.
I'm a man on a mission. I'm looking for a world title. I'm looking to become a world champion. He's just another guy in my way.
The greatest highlight in mixed martial arts history. Here is the number 12 ranked lightweight and former champion Anthony Showtime Pettis. And he said, Joe, he has sort of gotten away from a lot of the wrestling at this stage of his career. He says, I can't be a wrestler. I got so hyper-focused on trying to stop the takedown that I got away from my reactions and my skills. He'll try to get back to that approach tonight.
That's an interesting perspective, and I'm not sure if it's correct. I don't know if it's just a matter of he hasn't been successful figuring out what the puzzle is, so now he's decided it's this. And he, at one point in time, thought it was strength. At one point in time, thought it was a weight difference, so he tried to go down to 145. There's been a lot of different things that he's tried, because at one point in time, he's one of the top pound-for-pound fighters in the world, if not #1. Remember when he was supposed to be fighting Jose Aldo? Right. I mean, people thought he was the man when he was the 155-pound champion, but he has since had a series of bad fights that did not go his way, fights where he was overwhelmed by grappling, fights where he's overwhelmed by strength. Rafael Dos Anjos, he's just had some tough fights.
Something that Andrew said that really struck me was that it was all in his mindset. He had to dumb down the sport of fighting for himself. He said, when I got into this thing, I was doing what I did best. I was a nasty striker with unbelievable guard and jiu-jitsu. He said, I got away from that when I started trying to defend wrestling. It changed my striking completely. I was so worried about takedowns that I didn't strike at my best with my best attributes. He said, I'm back to who I was in the sense that I'm going back to striking and back to jiu-jitsu. I'm not trying to defend takedowns. I want to be taken down so I can submit you. That's my gift. And he's like, I'm not going to deviate from it. I'm going to use my best attributes, and this is how I'm going to do it.
This fight was to go down in April. It shall be done tonight as Pettis awaits Michael Chiesa.
There is no question what Michael Chiesa wants to do when you hear this song. Stranglehold.
Well, he is one of the best choke artists in the UFC, the #9 ranked lightweight contender, Michael Chiesa. Some trials and tribulations during this training camp. He did enter camp lighter because this was a back-to-back training camp situation for him. He didn't make weight, unfortunately. Tonight, though, trying to get the desired result here at the biggest win of his UFC career.
I mean, he's one of the best back takers in the sport. When this guy gets you and sinks that arm under the chin, he's a phenomenal average. I mean, it's in terms of his finishing average, it's absolutely outstanding against guys like Beneil Dariush and Jim Miller. I mean, real top-level black belts. He's a very, very physically strong guy and big for the weight class. Now we find too big because he missed weight yesterday. It's indicative of how much weight he cuts. And I think he's going to have similar success at 170 pounds. And quite frankly, I wish there was more weight classes for him.
Right. Yeah, honestly, I think that the 165-pound division is a matter of time before it's created. But right now, I think Chiesa is going to keep growing and be too big for this weight class eventually. I think that's the real issue. I don't think he missed weight. I think he's too big for the weight in this particular instance. At the same time, how many people have we watched miss weight go on to win the fight because of that weight advantage? I think that this is a serious advantage for Chiesa. Not only does he have the grappling that he needs, the size if he's going to use it, but he has it because he didn't make weight. So he has a huge advantage already in the fact that he made weight because he's larger than Anthony Pettis, who's coming up from 45. But then you add to the fact that he didn't even make 55. What kind of power advantage does he have in this aspect? And how big of a gift is that against a guy who needs to stay striking and needs to stay in free open space in order to have the most attributes to win?
First appearance for Chiesa in over a year as he takes on Showtime Pettis tonight. This tale of the tape brought to you by Modelo Especial, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925. Chiesa 30 years old. As Joe mentioned, Pettis still just 31. Chiesa, though, missing weight by a pound and a half. He will have a 3-inch reach advantage. All right, Chiesa and Pettis are ready to go for the introduction. So we go inside to the veteran voice of the Octagon, Bruce Buck.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 20 wins, 7 losses. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing in at 156 pounds. Fighting out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, presenting the former WEC lightweight champion and the former UFC lightweight champion, Anthony Showtime Pettis. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 14 wins, 3 losses. He stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 157 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Spokane Valley, Washington, presenting the Ultimate Fighter Season 15 winner and the number 9 ranked lightweight contender in the world, Michael Maverick Chiesa! When the action begins, our referee in charge, Herb Dean.
I don't know what to say, Joe.
That was intense. They were dance partners. He's pumped up.
You'd have to see Bruce at the club. It's a whole nother level. You got a jacket for that, too.
Here we go.
All right, Pettis and Chiesa ready to go. Tonight's Fight Clock is brought to you by Modelo Especial, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925. Chiesa, the southpaw in black. Pettis out of the orthodox stance in what?
And there's the kick.
And that's not worrying about takedowns is what that is. That's him going back to his normal striking, saying if you take me down off these kicks, I don't care, I'm going to go back to jiu-jitsu. And right away he's trying a submission. Let's see how he does with the giant Chiesa on top of him.
As Dominic mentioned, Pettis likes to work off of his back, very crafty with submissions from the bottom. Nearly had a triangle against Dustin Poirier in his last fight last November.
Yeah, he's holding on to the neck, but he's in half guard here, and now Chiesa's completely free on top of him. Massive pressure. Chiesa has tremendous top game, and he's got to hold the neck already. He's in the arm triangle position already. Not quite. Anthony was able to get his arm up in between the two of them, but you're seeing massive pressure and strength from Chiesa and technique. And he's trying to punch to create openings for submissions.
If there was ever a bad timing for a takedown, it was at the beginning of the fight for Anthony Pettis. But now you see the roles have switched. Pettis takes the back, and let's see what we can do here with Pettis.
Yeah, with the Kimura. Pettis has got to look out for that right arm. That's in a very bad position with an incredibly strong guy and no sweat. He's got to keep his hands together and not let Chiesa yank that thing up. Oh, man, that's not good. Look at that. Beautiful recovery.
Chiesa throws a lot of kicks, has a good jab as well. He's always going to be underrated as a striker because of what his game is rooted in, but he can use his jab to enter. Nice sign there for Pettis, 2 minutes in.
What I love about this for Chiesa is he's got Pettis holding him against the fence. That's all Chiesa wants, is just to be holding Pettis. The second Pettis gets into free open space, Chiesa's going to try to get back here again immediately. So Chiesa's fighting the way he needs to, and Pettis is not.
Yeah, interesting that Pettis would choose to hang on here, especially when Chiesa wasn't holding on to him.
Knee to the body from Chiesa, changes levels yet again here.
And this is what Chiesa does best. He just smothers you. He keeps going striking low, and then he goes back to a single leg. He just hangs on you. It's just nasty.
Power takedown for Chiesa.
Pettis goes straight for the triangle. That's one of his best submissions. And one of the things that Chiesa mentioned is that posture is going to be key. And right here, you're seeing the posture that he's using.
Look out for the arm. Chiesa doing a great job of avoiding submission attempts, and keeping that weight and pressure on Pettis.
Chiesa has taken down 10 of his 11 UFC opponents now.
Oh, look at that.
Chiesa smiles through it. A couple minutes ago, you saw a big wince out of Chiesa when Pettis foot stomped that right foot. Not sure if there was a pre-existing injury there, but big wince out of Chiesa.
Well, this is Anthony Pettis' range right here. You got to keep that range, keep that distance, and get off something that's going to punish Chiesa.
He said striking is going to be his wrestling defense in this fight, so let's see it. He needs to start throwing.
Pettis felt like the extra training back-to-back camps from April into this one would be huge for him tonight.
There's a nice leg kick, a lot of power behind that. And that's the left side, which is really his power side. And there's another one, outstanding. Hard leg kicks.
Third straight southpaw opponent for Showtime Pettis, who showed the southpaw look to Chiesa a moment ago.
There's a nice right hand for Pettis. And this is his distance. This is his range. This is where he wants this fight to take place.
Pettis loads up on the right hand here.
Yeah, but get out of there.
Right. So a couple takedowns on 5 attempts for Chiesa, but some good work from Pettis. Oh, just misses on the spinning attack there. And that closes the book on round 1. This heat here, these guys do not like each other. Tonight's Corner Cam brought to you by Body Armor. Make the switch to Body Armor, the official sports drink of UFC. Try their new UFC flavor, Octagon Orange, exclusively available at 7-Eleven.
Okay. Catch your breath, man. Using a lot of adrenaline right now. Just relax. Settle in. You don't have to force anything. Yeah.
It's open for him. Just use your hands first.
Okay. Okay.
When you need breaths, bring that heart rate down.
I think he's greased. Huh?
It's all right. When you put him down, just stay down. Watch those hits. He's moving for those hits.
Okay.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Keep that weight on him, especially in the clinch. Stay in the clinch. Remember, lock the hands. Lock the hands, dude. We're good.
And here we see some takedowns from Michael Chiesa. And here's another trip. And here's the end of the round. Their feet got tangled here. See, Pettis steps on Chiesa's foot, and that's what led him falling down.
And you might have caught Chiesa with the accusation on the stool. He said, I think Pettis is greased. Oh, beautiful body kick for Showtime.
Oh, he tagged him. He hurt him bad. Oh.
Pettis following up with a knee.
Pettis looking for the choke. He doesn't have it, though. He's got to adjust and get it deeper under the neck. He hasn't let it go. And that's a big risk by jumping on a guillotine with a guy like Chiesa on top of you.
but it's one of those things that Pettis talked about doing. He said, I have to keep going for the submission. It's what I do. And now here he is again attacking.
Oh, he's adjusting his triangle. That's tight.
That is super tight.
And he's got an arm, too. He's got it. He got it.
Showtime is back. Anthony Showtime Pettis submits Michael Chiesa.
Outstanding. That is a huge, huge win for Anthony Pettis. And it goes back to exactly what he was saying. To forget about his wrestling and try to submit guys off his back. Don't worry about being taken down. Worry about your submissions off your back.
That looked like the WEC Pettis that I remember. That looked like the guy that I saw winning titles in the WEC. And it's exciting to see this man come back like that.
And submitting a guy like Michael Chiesa is just absolutely massive.
Well, Duke Rufus, Scott Cushman, and crew wanted Pettis to get back to basics. Certainly did that tonight and then some.
And it didn't work on me. It didn't work on me. Although, here we go. That right hand down the middle just clips him. Next thing you know, he follows it up, goes straight to the guillotine here. It was a good try, and then he's able to throw up this triangle. Once he pulls down on that ankle, and he starts cinching and breaking down the posture of Chiesa, then he grabs that leg. That stops any kind of defense from Chiesa, and that locks in that triangle, makes it so tight. Then he switches, he's got the arm too. That was the end. That's all she wrote.
And it's amazing when you talk to a fighter like Anthony Pettis, who has been there and done that. We set up all the credentials. Everything he said as to what he was going to do tonight ended up bearing fruit as he gets another highlight for the reel. All right, the official decision is brought to you by Metro PCS. Get knockout coverage of the UFC on a network that covers 99% of people in the U.S. To make it official, here now, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Herb Dean has called a stop to this contest at 52 seconds of round number 2. Declaring the winner by submission due to a triangle armbar, Anthony Showtime Pettis.
All right, I'm here with a very happy Anthony Pettis. Not just a submission victory, but a submission victory over one of the best submission artists in this division. You talked about this camp, and you talked about some adjustments that you had made where you weren't going to concentrate on wrestling anymore. You would concentrate on what you were doing when you were at your best, which was your kickboxing and submissions off your back. And man, it came out perfect tonight.
Man, I'm a fighter for the fans. The fans, you know, the finish is what they want to see. That's what I'm going to do. I forget about the wrestling, forget all that bull crap. What got me to the title shot was submissions and jiu-jitsu. Great kickboxing, that's what I'm going to do.
You looked wild tonight with your striking. Let's take a look at the combination where you stunned him before you wound up taking him out. You hit him with a big right hand and hurt him. You went for a guillotine, lost position, then synced up a beautiful triangle. Look at this. You hurt him with that right hand. What were you thinking right here?
Hey, Scott Cushman, we just been working on that right hand. I knew he was a big, long guy. He had long grips, so I didn't want to get too close to him with my strikes. I wanted to put on a show for y'all. Next time, guarantee I'm getting one of my old school knockouts. But I need a Modelo, man. I've been working so hard. Who got a Modelo for me?
But this is gigantic, this here. When you sunk in that triangle, I mean, Michael Chiesa is a big guy, too big for the weight class, in fact, missed weight. And to catch him like that off your back, absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, you know, my jiu-jitsu is amazing. You know, I've caught so many good guys in submissions. I think I just earned my black belt today, so big news for me. It's going to be a good night for me in Vegas. Happy birthday to my daughter. She turns 7 on Monday. I love you, Arya.
Congratulations, sir. Anthony Pettis, ladies and gentlemen.
And it looked like he just got confirmation that the black belt is coming. Pettis went to the gym during camp to win the day. He certainly won the night here tonight at UFC 226. While the stars are out tonight, El Cucuy, Tony Ferguson, inching closer to a return. There's the UFC Hall of Famer Matt Hughes alongside as well. Also in the building, one welterweight contender, the Gorilla, Darren Till.
That's Liverpool for you, baby.
The double bird. Donald Cowboy Cerrone, ABD, always be drinking. Cowboy Cerrone's in the building tonight. And of course, the Hall of Famer, the Iceman, Chuck Liddell, here for International Fight Week 2018. All right, coming up later on tonight, I can't even tease this fight without smiling. Francis Ngannou, Derek Lewis. What's coming up? Brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3. Get the new limited time Icon Edition on Xbox One and PS4 until July 17th. And receive exclusive in-game content, plus 5 new playable Icon fighters, including Kimbo Slice, Tito Ortiz, and more. So the heavyweights coming up later. Felder taking at least a one-night detour here to welterweight. He will face off with fellow slugger and crowd pleaser, Platinum Mike Perry. Perennial crowd pleasers Paul Felder and Platinum Mike Perry have made their way to Vegas for International Fight Week. And here and now, they square off in a clash that is expected to produce.
I plan to bring the fireworks to Paul. I think we're going to be the savage fight of the night. I'm going to come forward, tuck my chin, bite down on my mouthpiece, and throw some leather.
Mike, you love him or hate him, whatever you think about him, the guy brings it, and he's tough, he's got a chin, he's durable. I'm going to test that tonight, but I do think that it could end up being a fight that the fans are going to be talking about for a long time.
More than willing to trade with any opponent, Platinum Mike Perry has scored 4 finishes since his UFC debut in 2016. And whether using his fists against Hyun-Gyu Lim, knees against Alex Reyes, or elbows against Jake Ellenberger, when this 26-year-old banger lets his myriad weapons fly, a spectacular finish usually follows.
I'm always going for the finish. If I put my hands on your chin, you're going to sleep.
Unbeaten for nearly 2 years, Paul Felder has been rejuvenated since relocating his camp to Milwaukee. And the proof is in the results. The Irish Dragon has scored consecutive knockouts of Alessandro Ricci, Stevie Ray, and Charles Oliveira, all serving to set up this short notice opportunity up at welterweight against Perry.
My last 3 fights have been knockouts. Tonight's going to be number 4, and I've been just itching to get back in there. You know, I had my fight pulled from me in Brooklyn. It's been a long, long training camp, and I'm looking to take it out on Mike Perry tonight.
Here's the inimitable fan favorite, Platinum Mike Perry. And Joe, the big storyline for Perry coming in here. He has left Orlando, Florida, relocated to Albuquerque, New Mexico, trained at Jackson Wink MMA Academy. Frank Lester, former UFC fighter, he really connected with him, and he will serve as his chief corner here tonight.
Yeah, I think, you know, it probably was time for him to mix things up. He lost 2 in a row to Santiago Ponzinibbio and then to Max Griffin in his last fight, and he just really didn't want to get into that position where he was stagnant. So he felt he made a change. He went to one of the best camps in the world. Nothing wrong with that. What he brings to the table is fierce aggression. He's a dynamic power puncher. He's a hard man, and he is more than willing to take it to give it. He puts himself in harm's danger, and he's just a savage. I mean, that's what Mike Perry does best. What's going to be interesting is, first of all, how well Paul Felder fights at 170. We've only seen him at 155 in the UFC, but he's a big 155. And whether or not he can use his technical expertise to keep this animal off of him.
I talked to Mike Perry's coach, and they said the biggest thing they focused on was he was reaching too much with his power. He was leaning over his lead leg. So they focused on having him reach with his lead leg and then pull that back leg behind him so he can get his weight underneath it, sit on his punches, and not be off balance. On top of that, they also worked on circling to the weak side, setting up the angles so that when Paul Felder is standing in the pocket, trying to use that Muay Thai, they go to the weak side where they have less weapons to run into, and they can counter with their own power.
That dude doesn't have a chip on his shoulder. He's got a lumberyard.
Felder said, "This is for Aunt Claire and Uncle Phil. Lost her to cancer. This is for you guys." He says he has to be more technical than Perry, and that's what he has in spades. He asked for Perry asked for this fight, or I'm sorry, excuse me, Felder asked for this fight against Perry, and that was because he said that Perry also is kind of a small 170-pounder. You know, Felder's coming up. He said, "I'm probably a 55er. But if I'm going to make a matchup, it's going to be like this." He says he knows that Perry's going to bring it, and he's going to give a fight for the fans that they want to see. Also, that he knows he can trade with them. He knows that he can stand in the middle, and this is a man who's not going to back down, not going to take a step back. And they're both going to be able to do some damage. The biggest thing that Felder said is elbows are going to be key in this matchup because Perry likes that clinch. Perry's very good in the clinch, and he looks for it. Felder believes he has the advantage in those scenarios. He has more practice at it, and he also has more tricks in his arsenal in order to beat Perry.
It has been a tough 2018, Joe, for Felder, not in terms of wins and losses. He was to face Al Iaquinta in April. Iaquinta moved in to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov. He was to face James Vick in the co-main event next week. Vick got moved into a main event against Justin Gaethje, but this is a huge opportunity on one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year. And yes, it's up a division, but Felder can make a major statement tonight in this first welterweight start.
And it's entirely possible that he was cutting too much weight and diminishing his performances inside the octagon. I mean, Paul Felder is a big guy. For him to cut down to 155, it's a very long process that takes weeks and weeks of draining himself, and it's entirely likely that that limits his performance inside the octagon. When you look at these two guys next to each other, they look exactly the same size. I think he probably is going to fight better at 170. The question is going to be whether his power translates.
Right. Don't forget that the reason why he would fight better at 170 tonight is because he's facing a Mike Perry who isn't a D1 and NCAA wrestler who can hold him down on his back and outmuscle him and just keep Paul Felder stuffed in the corner of the fence. He's going to stand with Mike Perry, and he knows that that's why this matchup is great for him at 170 pounds.
Well said.
All right, let's get to the tail of the tape. Brought to you by Modelo Especial, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925. Felder 33, Perry just getting going at 26. Felder the taller man by 1 inch. You see Felder no problem with that 170-pound weight class. Slight reach advantage for Mike Perry of half an inch. All right, now for the introductions back inside to the well-dressed Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC welterweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 11 wins, 3 losses. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing in at 170.5 pounds. Fighting out of Orlando, Florida, Platinum Mike Perry. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 15 wins, 3 losses. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 170 pounds. Fighting out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Paul, the Irish Dragon Felder. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Mark Goddard.
Mark Goddard, our referee for this one. Luciana Andrade getting us started from round 1. And rest assured that Felder's coaches would have no problem if he decided to make this more than a 1-fight stint up at 170 pounds. Paul Felder finally getting that first appearance of 2018 out of the way against Platinum Mike Perry. Tonight's fight clock brought to you by Modelo Especial, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925. Felder in black, Platinum Mike Perry in white. Already a big cut on the forehead of Paul Felder.
That was the first punch that Mike Perry threw.
And anytime you get a cut on the top of your head like that, it's really miserable, especially at the beginning of the fight because the blood drains right down into your eyes. It's very annoying.
Apparently it was a headbutt. We're going to get a chance to see that in between rounds.
And maybe both guys were cut.
Bad headbutt.
I believe you're correct. I believe Mike Perry's cut as well. Literally the first motion of the fight.
Well, the only time Paul Felder's ever been stopped, it was courtesy of a cut from Francisco Trinaldo back in 2016. Be
careful, that elbow, break elbow by Mike Perry. He throws a ferocious left elbow on the break. Oh, and there's a right elbow. He hurt Paul Felder with that. Hard shots to the body by Perry. I mean, you really see the punching power this guy carries. And Felder with an elbow of his own.
Not a lot of jabs from either of these gentlemen. They like to just throw pure power when they with each strike.
Interesting, as soon as he goes over to Jackson's camp, you see him immediately go to that oblique kick to the knee that they're famous for.
Well, one of the things that Perry said too is I never really had a game plan. I was running my own camps before, so I kind of got away from my fundamentals. So when I got to New Mexico, I got back to my fundamentals.
Nice right hand by Felder over the top.
Cut doesn't seem to be too much of an issue.
Oh, he hurt him. Felder can take it.
Perry's. Oh. And this is what we were talking about. These guys are going to be winging elbows, slicing each other up.
They'll both spin, both with high volume.
Yeah, he landed that one, though, with the forearm on the forehead, which oftentimes can break your arm.
Yes.
The way he landed it.
That's exactly how I go.
Yeah, I was thinking of you right there. Very nice counter right hand there by Perry.
Good hook. Watch that left hook. Felder's starting to find it. He's getting the timing for it. And look at Perry's right hand. It's down. That left hook is there, and that's one of Felder's best strikes.
Nice knee. There's that stall.
That was very nice. That hurt the leg. When you eat those shots to the knee like that, it makes you think.
Both guys throwing with fight-ending intentions here early. 3+ minutes have gone by in round one.
And you see those knee strikes straight down like that work when you're standing right there with no in and out movement. And that's the Muay Thai style. It's kind of stationary a little bit, but it's pure power. And that's why that lead leg smash to the knee that Perry's throwing is working.
That kick has really started to become extremely common in MMA. The Darren Till Wonderboy fight was a perfect example. Look at that high kick by Felder, beautifully executed.
No load whatsoever. It was powerful with no load too.
Felder starting to work off of that jab effectively.
Stepped in there with that knee. Oh, nice low calf kick as well. Felder getting loose.
Hands up! Perry's staying patient. It's a little different for him. Last fight he had, I think he charged forward so much that you could see him thinking a lot more in this matchup against Felder, although it might do him some justice to get in the chest of Felder and not care anymore, because at distance, Felder's looking sharp.
See how closely matched they are in terms of the total strikes landed and thrown. Perhaps some overthinking for Perry. He talked to us about his hips and his knees, the back leg being a little bit too stiff. Sometimes you get in your own head a little bit.
Well, it's going to take him a while. A nice elbow on the break again.
Isn't he good with that,
Yeah,
Joe?
he's beautiful with that. And that's how he knocked out Jake Ellenberger, and he's landed 2 really good ones on Felder so far.
He needs to start checking those kicks. His will add up. Ooh, goodness, that's heavy.
Perry goes to the spinning attack there. Final seconds of round one. Good body shot from Perry.
Beautiful spin by Felder. Oh, what an exchange.
Nice shot. Look at him run his feet. Good defense, though.
What a round. 2 more to go, potentially. Tonight's Corner Cam is brought to you by Body Armor. Make the switch to Body Armor, the official sports drink of UFC. Try their new UFC flavor, Octagon Orange, exclusively available at 7-Eleven.
I don't need home runs. I need singles. I need getting on base. Okay, breathe. Okay, I heard you. Drink. Okay, you all right?
Yep.
Okay, breathe. Let's not get so wild with him. When you go 1-1-2, you're picking apart with your hands. Touch your legs. Don't play single shots with him. He likes that. I need a little numbers.
He freezes on platinum. Eyebrows freeze on platinum, all right? All right, here we go.
Mike, when you lock up, you get those elbows going, all right? Don't worry about the takedown yet. Get them elbows going like we worked. You had some beautiful ones this round. Good stuff.
Hey, Mike, look at me real quick.
I mean, this fight starts out for the fans with blood and a pure headbutt right off the bat, like 2 cars crashing into each other. Then they start slicing each other up with some elbows. And you see a huge right hand land here by Felder and a spinning back fist that you're going to see right now, that we see Felder just land with perfect timing.
Ready? And Perry rolling with it a little bit to minimize the damage. And it's amazing to think, and of course Yancy Medeiros probably watching, and we wish him a quick return to health, but this matchup just made a whole lot of sense. And so far, so good.
I mean, Joe, you've been doing this for a long, long time. How many fights have you seen that many spin elbows in the first round? The sport is evolving.
It really is.
Very fast.
And you may have caught when Duke Roufus asked for singles instead of home runs. Felder shook out that right hand. Potentially an injury there, so we'll see how much Felder throws that right hand.
Yeah, several times he's landed it both in punches, and of course those spinning back fists that keep landing with the bone of the forearm on the head. So easy to break your arm with the amount of torque that you get off of that technique. Nice leg kick there by Paul Felder. He isn't throwing a lot of right hands so far.
Seemed like he couldn't even fight for an underhook with it there as Perry picks him up and slams him back down.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. It looked like he was struggling to utilize it.
That was some serious power. I mean, Perry is strong, we know that, but that was just pure strength right there with that takedown.
Felder right back up to his feet. I think Felder's looking at a broken hand.
Which hand do you think?
The right hand.
Right hand.
Yeah, I don't like the way
he's holding it open real weird, right?
Yeah, he's not committing with it.
Could have hurt his arm on the spins too, maybe.
Oh, he got hit with a big elbow.
Perry's been landing those the whole fight.
And that is a welterweight elbow from Platinum Mike Perry. 90+ seconds gone by round 2. Perry has accrued a lot of experience for a 26-year-old. 11 amateur fights, 15th pro fight tonight.
He just threw it there. He could be wrong about that. He's throwing it. Or he might just be so tough he's going to throw a broken hand, which we've also seen.
And it also sucks and hurts. So it's extremely tough for even thinking about it.
Mike Perry has already tied his personal best for takedowns in the UFC with 1. Accomplished that against his last 2 opponents, Max Griffin and Santiago Ponzinibbio. And every time you talk to Mike Perry, he talks about his wrestling and jiu-jitsu. He doesn't employ it a lot, but feels like he can fall back on it if needed.
Yeah, it's just his mindset is so savage. When he's in there, he's just throwing missiles. But it's also what makes him so exciting. I mean, he's really quickly emerged as one of the more interesting guys to watch in this division. And there was a nice little feint there that brought an elbow out of Paul.
And it's not by accident that Perry is on this fight card here tonight. He's been very humbled by the support he's gotten from his fellow fighters and MMA fans. Felder attacking that lead leg.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, Joe, if Felder broke his arm with one of those spin attacks or cracked his arm or just injured it real bad. Because when you miss like that, you don't hit with your glove, it really hurts your hand. Your arm, I should say, really bad. And you're not throwing it too much. You see him waiting and holding it up like we were saying. I think you're right about that, Joe.
Yeah, I think he might have just been throwing an injured hand.
Yep. You got to throw it so it looks like you're trying to land it, at least, even if it doesn't land. But he's using more jabs than he's used the whole fight.
Perry lands an uppercut and opens a huge cut on Felder.
He hurt him.
Ooh, bad. That punch landed heavy. Felder's cut dirty over the arm.
I want you to stop right there. I want you to stop right there.
Mark Goddard's going to take a look at that cut immediately.
Look at me.
And you can see Felder.
Stay there. Wow. Come here.
Right in the eye, too. That's going to be a pain in the neck to fight with, but he can still fight.
Stay right there. There's no coaching. Wasn't a headbutt. It was a left hook, not a headbutt. Stay there.
Fascinating.
No coaching. Stay there. It's a left hook, doctor. Punch by the left hook, not a headbutt. Doctor, we happy?
The cut is not something I would be concerned about right now.
Okay, let's go. We're back on the fence.
I like this doctor.
Unlike the cut against Francisco Chimado, this one appears to be in a better place in terms of preserving the vision.
When I say go, you go. Let's go.
And of course, Goddard has the fighters resume the position. Less than a minute to go in round 2.
Watch the elbow on the break. It's coming, you know that.
Yep, there it is.
It was a good try. He got the takedown, and that's what matters. It wasn't absolutely beautiful, but it was still a nice takedown.
And this is the wrestling and jiu-jitsu that Mike Perry was talking about that we rarely see from him. And he's in an excellent position for ground and pound here as Felder tries to get back up to his feet, particularly defending himself with that broken hand or injured hand.
Look how Perry's holding that bottom leg down when he's hooking it. That's the anchor that we've been talking about, Joe, and it just makes it ugly to get up.
Got to admire the toughness of Paul Felder, but he is wearing a mask of blood right here. They exchange elbows in the clinch.
Felder landed a nice elbow there himself. And there's a good cut on the nose of Mike Perry. Mike Perry might have got stunned from one of those elbows.
Paulie, sit down. You're out. Okay. Listen to me, okay? Breathe. Here's what I need, Paul. I don't need big spins and moves of that nature. I know. I understand. I understand. Breathe. Okay. Listen to me. Yeah. Listen to me. All right. Listen to me. Okay. I need simple jabs, good footwork, low kick, evasion. You understand? Hey, you got it? All right. Breathe. Don't look to kill him with every shot. I need you to pepper him and move. Pepper him and move. All right? You got to drink, son. Drink. Here you go. All right? All right, we got this. Breathe. I need activity. Don't waste. I don't need big shots. Stay busy, all right?
So Felder has confirmed that he does have a broken arm. And let's take a look at this. This is Mike Perry taking him down. I mean, that is just strength, folks. And here's a nasty left hook that caused that cut. I mean, he just winds into that. Tremendous power behind that. It shows you Felder's ability to take a shot.
And that's also the problem with having a broken arm is the counter to that hook is a straight right down the middle before the hook comes that he doesn't have right now.
Don House did what he could with that cut of Paul Felder, with Perry attacking that area yet again.
Felder wants to throw that arm, but it hurts. Ooh, goodness, he's tough. Keep throwing it. That's serious pain, ladies and gentlemen, if your arm's broken and you're in there fighting. It's more than it looks like.
The adrenaline only helped so much, but Felder did just throw the elbow and then the uppercut with that compromised right arm.
Well, Perry looks like he's trying to, yeah, okay. I was trying to figure out what he was trying to do with his hips. Like he was trying to load up for a spin, but he was trying to throw a hook kick.
Perry, to me, looks very sharp like he did in the first couple fights we saw in the UFC. He's back to having some fundamentals, and he's back to what he started as. He kind of got away from what he did best, and you're seeing it again in this fight.
Well, he got caught with another left hook. Oh, jeez, he threw it again. He's throwing a broken arm, and he landed the same way he broke it.
That's how much of a habit it is to throw that. It's very reactive of him.
We talk about Perry being hardened, Paul Felder the same way, growing up in a tough Irish Catholic neighborhood in Philadelphia.
Ooh, he landed that elbow. That was a counter elbow by Felder.
UFC 226, Miocic versus Cormier is presented by Modelo Especial, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925.
That liver shot was heavy. That was nice, and Perry eats it, says, I'm still here. Look how he heads him off. He doesn't follow him, he heads him off. It's a big difference than staying behind him. That way he's keeping the constant pressure on Felder, right on his heels. Nice knee. And that's how you divert the pressure if you're getting put on your heels. You fire a knee the second they come forward. Very nice by Felder.
Felder's doing a good job of mitigating the issues that he's having with that right hand by keeping it at a kicking distance. The problem was when Perry closes the gap, he can't clinch right, he can't underhook right, and he tried to throw it again.
He did throw it, that landed too.
Felder really settling in here, having a strong start to this third round.
And the real issue is blocking a kick. If Perry threw a left high kick right now, it would be very, very painful for Felder to block it.
I don't think he's aware, or maybe his corner's not aware. Oh, threw an uppercut there, even with that hand.
But a beautiful right from Perry, split the guard of Felder and reopened that cut. Not that it was close. Just over 2 minutes here, third and final round.
Perry going with the high kick.
Perry mixes it up just enough that he keeps you guessing at all times. I mean, how many high kicks have we seen from him this fight? And all of a sudden he fires one with good timing and range.
Numbers very close in terms of the significant strikes landed, all of them unofficial, but 50 to 46 for the Irish Dragon.
And this is where it's an issue. He's essentially grappling with one arm here. And you can see it really clearly there. And Mike Perry doing a great job here. Getting behind Felder, nasty knee to the thigh.
Hard to fight hands when one arm is broken. Under a minute now to go in this third and final round.
These are nasty knees. And he is really driving those home.
He's an 8-point striker. Everything's hard.
Very smart fight by Perry. He didn't fight like he did the last couple that he's had losses. He fought intelligent with a game plan and used his weapons well.
Final 30 seconds of this one. Crowd trying to get behind both of these warriors here.
Felder letting it all hang out. How about the toughness of Felder in this fight? Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's in that knee up the middle by Felder.
Still throwing the right. That arm is definitely broken, and he's still going, ladies and gentlemen.
Lands a left hook.
Oh, stop throwing that. Goodness. What a fight.
And an appreciative crowd here in Vegas as Paul Felder and Platinum Mike Perry go the distance. Felder with an interaction there with UFC President Dana White, who certainly approved of those 15 minutes. And Platinum Mike Perry trying to take his career to the next level. This was a step in the right direction here tonight.
Now here's the beginning of the very first moment of the fight. A headbutt causes a cut for both men. That is a nasty elbow from Mike Perry. There's a right hand from Felder. And here's a big takedown from Perry. I mean, what a strength. The strength of Mike Perry. And here's a nasty left hook that caused a huge gash over the right eye. Here's a straight right hand in the third round. Just a great fight, a great brawl.
Paul Felder had spent some time in Albuquerque, New Mexico, mostly with Donald Cerrone at the BMF Ranch, but you saw him go over and talk to Perry's coaches, Greg Jackson, Mike Winkeljohn, Frank Lester. They got a lot of respect for the man in the red corner tonight. And for Mike Perry, who will soon relocate to Las Vegas, he's hoping that Frank Lester, with whom he's developed a very strong bond, will come with him as he tries to land at Extreme Couture, one of the camps here in Vegas. And it'll be interesting to see what Felder chooses to do. You think maybe this would give him some incentive to go back to lightweight, Dom? Or
yeah, I think we'll see him go back down to lightweight. And I think that he looked very good in this fight. I mean, it's just that Perry's just a little bit bigger, I think, for the weight. A little bit. I think it's more of a weight for Perry than it is for Felder at this weight class. It's better for him. But you got to commend Perry. I mean, he found coaching after his losses. He made the adjustments he needed to so he can get back into the win column. And I think he's found a home with Frank Lester and that team in New Mexico.
Disciplined guy and a hard worker. Platinum Mike Perry. The official decision is brought to you by Metro PCS. Get knockout coverage of the UFC on a network that covers 99% of people in the U.S. Now with that official decision, here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. Mike Bell scores the contest, 29-28, Perry. Dave Hagan scores it, 29-28, Felder. And Chris Lee scores the contest, 29-28 for the winner by split decision, Platinum Mike Perry.
I'm here with the winner, very happy Mike Perry. Mike, congratulations. An excellent fight over a really tough guy in Paul Felder. Your switch to Jackson Winkeljohn was a big factor in this fight. Tell me about that and tell me how you feel tonight.
I feel great. I just got back to the basics and I got my first decision victory. I didn't see that coming, man. I was trying to hit him hard. I was only there for 2 months. I still got a lot to work on and I'm gonna stick with it. This is a blessing. This is a privilege to be in here. And I wanna thank all of you for showing up tonight. You know, you don't even know what it means to me to be here on Fight Week, International Fight Week, with the best fighters in the world. This is a dream since I was a baby.
Well, even though it was a short change for you, we have seen improvements in you, and this was an excellent example of controlled aggression against a really technical fighter.
Absolutely, Paul has great skills, and he's a big lightweight, welterweight, isn't he? I need to figure some things out, get back to the drawing board, and clean up my game even more. Thank God for the tenacity and the toughness, the will to overcome that he's given me in this life.
We look forward to seeing your improvement. Congratulations on a big victory. We look forward to seeing you again. Mike Perry, ladies and gentlemen.
And as Mike Perry just articulated, after 11 wins by knockout, the first decision win for Mike Perry as he gets the better of the Irish Dragon, Paul Felder, here tonight. Well, it's always a hot ticket international fight week. Anthony Kiedis of Red Hot Chili Peppers fame. He was front and center. And here for the first prelim of the night, by the way. So kudos to Kiedis on that. The newly minted UFC Hall of Fame, former UFC welterweight champion, Matt the Terror Serra, also in the building, getting choked out there by El Cucuy. Well, the pound-for-pound king, Demetrius Johnson, in the building tonight. There he is, and with Mighty Mouse in the crosshairs, good time to let you know you can get the new limited-time Icon Edition of EA Sports UFC 3, featuring the hardcore gamer and 11-time defending UFC flyweight champ, Demetrius Johnson. The Icon Edition available now on Xbox. Action the rest of the way from Vegas here tonight. Well, Derek Lewis has made no secret of his desire to throw hands with Francis Ngannou. The Predator obliged the Black Beast. As such, the stage has been set for a slugfest of epic proportions. Two of the most exciting heavyweights of this era are expected to shake the foundations of T-Mobile Arena tonight, as #1 ranked Francis Ngannou faces off with top 5 contender Derek Lewis.
It was just like one of those fights that the fans wanted to see and I wanted to be a part of, you know. I love to be in entertaining fights.
He wanted me, he got me, and now he will get what go with it.
Popular Houston, Texas slugger Derek Lewis has made no secret of his plans on Fight Night. He's looking to get an opponent out of there as soon as possible. And with 15 of his last 16 wins coming by knockout, it is clear the heavy mitts of the Black Beast deliver on those plans with frightening efficiency.
I believe this fight right here got fireworks written all over it because both of us, we love to bang. You know, we really like to stand up and throw.
Heavyweight sensation Francis Ngannou soared to the top of the division with knockouts of Curtis Blades, Andrei Arlovski, and Alistair Overeem that captured the attention of the entire sport. And now that the Predator has arrived, he hopes a win over Lewis will get him another shot at the championship he so covets.
Derek and I tonight, it's a great opportunity to me to get back into the business and then try to figure out how to get back to the title shot.
Well, Derek Lewis, Joe, has been as active and really as effective as any heavyweight since he debuted in the UFC in 2014. Tonight, he makes the walk for his 14th UFC appearance. He'll try to leave here as the #1 heavyweight contender.
Derek Lewis is an absolutely legitimate wild man. You see him there knocking out Gabriel Gonzaga. And if you don't think he's a wild man, go to his Instagram page. Dude is probably the funniest Instagram page out of any fighter. Sorry, Dominic Cruz. But he's a heavy-handed knockout artist and the kind of guy that has the style to make a fight with Francis Ngannou spectacular. I'm so looking forward to this because of the way this guy fights. I cannot imagine this being anything other than chaos for as long as it lasts.
Come on, Joe, you know you gotta apologize to me. You're the comedian, you would know. The point is that I want to make with this matchup is these guys don't care about each other in a sense. A lot of times you get respect from one guy to the other. The other guy respects, you know, there's just too much respect. You're not going to see 1 ounce of respect from these guys, especially Derek Lewis. He'll fight anybody at any given time, and more than anything, he just wants to knock you out, and he wants to make it a street brawl as close to that as possible, and that's where he thinks his gift is.
Tonight's Prep Point is brought to you by Modelo Especial, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925. Lewis attended Kilgore College in Texas, full football scholarship, was an outstanding defensive end, but he pivoted at some point thereafter to fighting, and the results have really been there in the UFC, and really draws a lot of confidence from his head coach, Bob Perez. They have studied film. They feel like there are openings they can capitalize on, and largely that's why they asked for this fight.
And he's one of the only human beings crazy enough to call for this fight. And look at him. Looks very calm.
The Black Beast, Derek Lewis, 26th professional fight tonight, trying to make it 8 wins in his last 9. He grew up in Bati, Cameroon, where the average citizen earns $1,300 a year. We don't have enough time to set up the entire story, but from poverty in Paris, France, to UFC superstardom, tonight Francis Ngannou trying to set up a second attempt at UFC heavyweight golden glory.
And I like the fact that he's coming into this fight light. He weighed more than 10 pounds lighter than he weighed in his championship effort against Stipe Miocic, which means that he's working on his cardio, working on being lean, which was a huge factor in that fight. That man's a big factor. John Wood, who's the lead trainer at the Syndicate here in Las Vegas, a great MMA gym. He's changed his location where he trains. Looks physically fantastic coming into this fight. We're going to learn what lessons he took from that fight against the right now heavyweight champion of the world, Stipe Miocic.
Yeah, and something that he wanted to make very apparent was the foundation that he has back home in Cameroon. He said a lot of kids don't have somebody to look up to. I want to be that person that I was looking for when I was a kid in the streets with nothing to eat. I want to be that human being for these kids. So he started a foundation out there. They're doing really well. It's growing. But more than anything, he said, I have to stay professional. That's why I speak with this soft-spoken manner. That's why I act as professional as I can, because it's for the kids back home that I used to be. I want to be that, what I needed when I was a kid for them.
But don't mistake his kindness for weakness, because this man has a decided mean streak. You can look at that final strike against Alistair Overeem. This is a man who goes in there very serious about taking care of his business, and a lot of people still believe he has a great chance to become the first African-born UFC champion if he can turn back the challenge of the Black Beast tonight.
Oh, he's still in the mix for sure. If he can fix a few things about his endurance and his takedown defense, wrestling, and we're going to find out a lot about him tonight.
That loss was, I'm sorry, Joe. That loss was the best thing that could have ever happened to him. I swear it was. Now he knows the hole in his game, and all you have to do to fix it is be in shape. Whoa.
Francis Ngannou, you mentioned John Wood, more structured MMA training now. Will it be enough to get past Derek Lewis tonight? The answer yours in a matter of moments. This Tale of the Tape brought to you by Modelo Especial, brew with the fighting spirit since 1925. So the big number here, 253 pounds for Francis Ngannou. This was a concerted effort, not just to come in lighter, but to come in quicker. We'll see how Ngannou looks tonight, especially in the early going against Derek Lewis. He will have a 4-inch reach advantage. All right, now for the introductions, we turn it over to Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the co-main event of the evening. Sponsored by The Equalizer 2. In theaters July 20th. There is no equal. And now, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a brawler holding a professional record, 19 wins, 5 losses, 1 no contest. He stands 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighing in at 264 and 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Houston, Texas, presenting the number 5 ranked heavyweight contender in the world, Derek the Black Beast Lewis. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 11 wins, 2 losses. He stands 6 feet 4 inches tall, weighing in at 253 pounds. Fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, by way of Paris, France, and Bati, Cameroon, presenting the number 1 ranked heavyweight contender in the world, Francis the Predator Ngannou. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Herb Dean.
Herb Dean, 3rd man in the octagon for this much-anticipated heavyweight clash. Judges will be scoring this fight tonight just in case. Finish, though, certainly is in the forecast. As you'll see here, these are the 2 most prolific heavyweight finishers dating to 2015 in the heavyweight division.
Ready. Let's do it.
Tonight's fight clock is brought to you by Modelo Especial, proven the fighting spirit since 1925. Ngannou in black, Derek Lewis in white.
Ngannou switching stances.
Watch for the left high kick when he switches stance. It's one of his, he likes to throw that when he switches.
This is a zero margin for error type matchup. Either one of these guys could knock any human being into another dimension with one shot. Maybe not that shot. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not arguing with you, Joe.
Derek Lewis, a lot of main event experience in the UFC. 3 times he has headlined.
Ngannou very patient here. A lot of feints, sizing it up. Yeah, he keeps going to that southpaw side.
He's looking for that high kick. I have a feeling he's looking for that left high kick. It's going to be powerful when he throws it.
Lewis with the first real crack.
And I like that Lewis is the one throwing it because he knows that that's not Ngannou's natural stance. So that's what you want to do, fire on it, make them use their defense where they're not comfortable.
You know, another question that we're going to have coming into this fight is how does Ngannou, Derek Lewis with the switch kick up high, is how does Ngannou recover from the psychological defeat?
Right.
I mean, what kind of a fighter is he? He was operating on so much momentum and so much confidence, stopping everybody in the first round.
That's why this fight's so important, Joe. It's very hard to come back from something like that and get back on the win column. And Ngannou will show his colors through this fight.
We haven't even seen him throw a strike.
I mean, Derek Lewis hits really hard, so I kind of can't blame him. Nobody wants to get knocked out right away by a pure power puncher.
Ngannou back tonight for the first time since that championship setback against Stipe back in January.
The one thing that could set this off, I call this staring in the mirror to my guys. You're just looking in the mirror. You got to fake. You got to move in and out. At least give a feint. Because right now they're going speed for speed, power for power.
Except Francis isn't really throwing.
Well, they're looking at each other. That's looking in the mirror, but that's all they're looking for is speed and power. They're not setting it up with movement. That's what feints will do. There it goes. Now he's faking a little, but it's not very committed.
Lewis perhaps trying to set up a counter. 2 minutes to go in round 1.
If you would have told me it would be 3 minutes into the first round and Ngannou never even threw a shot, I would say you were crazy.
Yeah.
What's the Vegas odds on that? You're a gambler, man.
Yeah, I do not have that number for you, Joe, but I can tell you a lot of people put a lot of money down on this fight not seeing a second round, and we're 1 minute and 40 seconds away from being there.
I'll tell you this, if there's one thing I would do if I was Ngannou after getting tired in my last fight, it was not throw too much to get tired. He's scared of getting tired after feeling that exhaustion. So he's conserving. I have a feeling in the second and third round he's going to start picking it up, but he's trying to pace himself.
Here's that jab. Nice long jab by Ngannou.
So a decidedly patient approach out of the Predator here tonight. He started his UFC career 6-0 with 6 finishes. Now closing the distance a little bit.
Derek Lewis, every time he's getting close, he's keeping him honest. He's throwing some heavy shots. And that's another reason why Ngannou's being cautious. There's a lot of firepower in that cage right now.
A lot of bullets in the gun, too. Not firing nothing.
And perhaps Ngannou just wanted to sort of get through these 5 minutes, and we'll see an uptick in the aggression in round 2. But he's landed just 1 strike, has Ngannou in this first round.
Derek Lewis has got an impressive switch kick. For such a big guy, for him to throw that switch kick up high, you just don't expect it.
So to the surprise of many, We will see a second round. Tonight's Corner Cam brought to you by Body Armor. Make the switch to Body Armor, the official sports drink of UFC. Try their new UFC flavor, Octagon Orange, exclusively available at 7-Eleven.
All right, good job. I need you to sit down. Give me the water, please. I just want you to breathe for a second. I just want you to breathe, okay? So, we got that round just because we did a little more, okay? We won the round. If we're going to kick, I need you to get the jab in his face first. Get anything in his face first. I don't want you kicking naked. He's looking to counter. Back starting, we got to fight through it, buddy. I love you, but fuck that shit. You got to fight through this shit.
Breath.
Okay?
Deep breath in, slow it down. Doing great. And start loosening up now. Good fast combinations. That level 2, 3 is there. Here we go. Let them hands go. We're up. Start letting it go now, Francis.
Interesting, in between rounds, Derek Lewis saying his back is bothering him. And this is an issue that he had in the past. He had to pull out of a fight last minute.
Back spasms on fight day took away an opportunity to fight Fabricio Verdum several months ago, and it seems like that is rearing its ugly head again for the Black Beast. Here is round 2. You heard John Wood hoping for a little bit more aggression out of Ngannou. We'll see if he gets those hands going. Ngannou still with that number 1 next to his name. Derek Lewis, number 5 in the world at present.
Derek Lewis feinting quite a bit, trying to open it up on his way in, and Ngannou being extremely cautious. It's funny, leading up to this fight, I said, there's no way this fight could be anything other than chaos.
Right.
It's definitely possible that I was wrong.
Well, you got Derek Lewis, who apparently has a little bit of an injury, and you can tell he's thinking about it. But at the same time, you got Ngannou, who got beat in his last fight, so maybe he's a little gun shy, and that created this.
Look at these total strikes. Ngannou, 2 of 10. That's crazy.
And 5 of 18.
Yeah.
6 of 18.
Does that count?
It is a strike, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Some of that lack of activity certainly can be chalked up to some respect for the power coming back his way.
I don't know if that's it, or if it's perhaps caution because he doesn't feel good. Look at all these people lighting their lighters up, using their phones.
Yeah.
People are upset.
They've had a lot to cheer about here tonight, but not necessarily the fight we expected here. Under 3.5 minutes to go in round 2.
Well, you know, people oftentimes are not the same after a loss. And although it wasn't a devastating knockout, it was a humiliating 5-round domination at the hands of the champion. And we could be looking at the psychological effects of that as much as we're looking at respect for Derek Lewis. And for Derek Lewis, he's got the back spasms, and he's also aware that Francis Ngannou is a big power striker. But as little as he's doing more.
Right.
Just saw Ngannou land a good strike to the eye of Derek Lewis. Good counter, back step hook.
Testy Vegas crowd here, midway through round 2.
I think they're entertaining themselves. This is crazy.
Dom, as a fighter, when that happens, I'm not saying it's happened to you, but how do you do you hear that? Do you just tune it out?
You definitely hear it, and it depends on the fighter. Some people tune it out, and some people start turning up and going after it, and the next thing you know, you get knocked out because you rushed and you listen to the crowd. So it can go both ways.
But Francis seems completely averse to getting hit. I mean, he's not engaging.
I honestly believe he's going to pick up in the third. I really do. I think he's waiting. I mean, I'm hoping that's what we get, obviously, but that's the only thing I could think of, is he doesn't want to get tired, because he got tired his last fight, so he's going to wait and make sure he doesn't get tired. Sprint in the third round. It's 5 minutes of sprint still, which is difficult. And maybe that takes the air out of Derek Lewis' sails. Now you don't got as bad of a fight if you wait till the third round to fight Lewis on the feet.
This is crazy, though.
I agree.
This is so strange to watch.
We are 8.5 minutes in. Francis Ngannou unofficially 2 for 15 on his total strike attempts.
That's just insane. And even when he's exchanging, I mean, he's very, very timid in what he's doing.
Definitely not the guy we saw early.
No.
He's not.
No, not the guy that fought Alistair Overeem. That guy was willing to exchange with anybody. Look at this, Herb Dean talking to him.
See, look at him grab his back. You see Derek Lewis grab his back?
You guys need to engage. Don't get me involved. Make me take points from someone taking a back step. Do this on your own. Time to fight.
So that is a warning for timidity, Joe, from Herb Dean.
Yellow card in the Pride days, huh?
Yeah. Well, yellow card costs you money. This is just a weird warning. Pride had a good system. Here's a nice jab by Ngannou with 54 seconds to go. That's crazy.
And rarely do we see those warnings as Derek Lewis attacks the body, but oftentimes it goes to one fighter or the other for stalling, not both.
Here's a good jab landed by Francis.
Little cut above the right eyebrow of Derek Lewis.
Derek Lewis is swinging for it at least. If Ngannou loses a decision like this,
and he could because he's getting outstruck. Technically,
100%.
he's getting outstruck.
100%. If he doesn't win by knockout, he might very well lose a decision. We're in the old system, right? There's no 10-8s here unless something absolutely spectacular happens. So unless he does something amazing in the third round or stops Derek Lewis, we might be looking at the most boring heavyweight decision of all time.
I'm gonna have to agree with you.
All right, last round. You gotta let those hands go first. All right, here you go. Combinations, he's scared. We might be down 2 rounds here, so I need you to go out there and let it out today, okay? We need to stop him or put his ass down this round. Let those hands go. That level 2, just get on those feints. More than one. You got to put combinations together, okay? Let him go. Last round.
Counter uppercut. Close the gap with your lower body. Step forward with the punch. Keep the punches straight, and let's throw them in bunches. It's all right, man. 5 minutes left. No, gentlemen.
You got this round, Derek. You know what's up.
UFC 226, Miocic versus Cormier, is presented by Modelo Especial, brewed with the fighting spirit since 1925. Well, John Woodjoe wisely telling Ngannou he's probably down 2 rounds to 0. We'll see.
This is so crazy, though. It's so weird to watch. It's so weird to see and think that we might not ever see that old Francis Ngannou again. I mean, we're just seeing a very timid, cautious fighter now.
We'll see if Ngannou here can return to the form that literally lit this division on fire over the last 2 years.
Look at these total strikes. This is crazy. 6 out of 25, 9 out of 37 in the third round. That is just insane. And again, Ngannou's not doing anything different. He's throwing a jab from way outside. He's throwing kicks from way outside. And when Derek Lewis comes near him, he moves away.
Right.
And there's a kick.
And Lewis not void of criticism either, but seems like his game plan was rooted in a counterattack, and hard to counter when someone's not throwing offense your way. Less than 4 minutes now to decide this one. The super fight follows.
It's one of those things you always wonder. How is a fighter going to come back from his first real defeat in the octagon, in a championship fight, when he's really only been fighting 5 years? You don't know much about him. Well, this is terrible. With 3 minutes and 34 seconds left.
Another thing you got to add to the equation, Joe, is in other sports, when somebody loses, they kind of go against somebody who's not completely at the top of the weight class. And we got the top 5 guys that Ngannou's going right back into right after a loss. So it does change things a little bit with that. Not an excuse, but in boxing, you know, they'll get somebody not quite as good, and they'll be able to get some momentum back before they get to the top of the division.
Yeah,
he lost and went straight to the top of the division to somebody in the top 5. So that is difficult to do as well.
I certainly agree with you, but he's just not engaging.
No, I'm with you, Joe. I'm not arguing with you. I get it. 9 strikes is silly.
Derek Lewis's coach, Bob Perez, is imploring him to try to change levels and get a takedown, which could punctuate a potential win here, or at least sway the judges. But Ngannou, oftentimes his hands are open, Joe, not even ready to throw. All right, let's listen in to Bob Perez, 4-ounce Fight Club, the corner of Derek Lewis.
Hands high.
Push him forward, Derek. Come forward. That's the chance. He's going back.
Outside the leg, right side. Right side attack.
He's on the left side. That's his uppercut side. Left hand is his uppercut hand.
Here's a crazy statistic. The record for the least amount of strikes landed is 25, 23. And these guys are at 20. So they're really close. What was that fight? Do we know? It was an old school fight with Jens Pulver.
Not a record you want. Derek Lewis with a flurry, less than 2 minutes here to go.
Less than 2 minutes to go. This is insane. Oh man, he's just swinging. It's so strange. So from so far out.
And do yourself a favor later. Go on UFC Fight Pass to remind yourself of what these guys have done over the last several years.
Or don't.
Or put on one of those fights.
I don't know. This is going to be the weirdest decision ever. If this goes to decision.
If it goes to a draw, would you be surprised?
Would they both lose?
It's a draw. I think there's just no decision at all with the draw, right?
It seems like it should be a double loss. This is crazy.
Well, and the expectation was that the winner of this fight could very well be next to challenge for a title.
That could have been ugly, though.
Lewis able to duck that, offering less than a minute to go. Francis Ngannou has landed 9 total strikes.
What the hell?
Did not see this coming. At all. Not even ever. That's how hard fighting is, and that's how different it is to guess what's going to happen in these fights.
Can't remember. Oh, left hand for Ngannou lands.
Now they're going. There's a minute, 30 seconds left. Now they'll fight.
Oh, left hand for Ngannou. That got the Black Beast's attention. Couple knees now from Lewis.
I think Derek Lewis could win this fight.
Oh, he's going to win this fight.
I think he's going to.
Yeah, he's winning this fight 100%. I mean, they just marked the 10 seconds to go, and Ngannou still isn't engaging.
Oh, and Francis Ngannou throws a strike after the horn, and that is only going to lead to more boos from the assembled masses here in Vegas. Man, what a stunner.
That's one of the worst heavyweight fights I've ever seen in my life, if not the worst. No, I'm going to say the worst. What was worse? Name a worse heavyweight fight.
I think there was one involving Konstantin Arokin, but I digress.
I don't remember that one. But this is crazy. From a guy who is thought to be the most terrifying heavyweight contender we've ever seen, to see him fight like this. Like, I don't think he needs a trainer. I think he needs a sports psychologist after that performance. There's no other way of putting it. I mean, you see Derek Lewis, who's thrown through a kick, and even when Ngannou punches, he punches and he looks like he's just running away. This is crazy.
I don't envy our replay guys trying to find something to show you here. Not a lot of action. 33 total strikes landed. 22 for Lewis, 11 for Ngannou.
This is a fight where Francis Ngannou looks like a guy who's only been training for 5 years.
Right.
Every other fight he's had, he looks like this freak athlete destroyer put on this earth to knock people into another dimension.
Well, I mean, now he knows he's human, though, Joe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's a big difference. It really is that way.
All right, the official decision. This is mercifully brought to you by Metro PCS. Get knockout coverage of the UFC on a network that covers 99% of people in the U.S. Let's throw it inside to Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. The judges score the contest 29-28, 29-28, and 30-27 for the winner by unanimous decision, Derek the Black Beast Lewis.
So Derek Lewis, your winner by decision tonight. over the no longer #1 heavyweight contender. Francis Ngannou Lewis has now won 8 of his last 9. Nothing spectacular about that one. All right, straight ahead though, the weight ends for the super fight between the heavyweight champ Stipe Miocic, light heavyweight champion Daniel Cormier. What's coming up? Brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3. Get the new limited time Icon Edition on Xbox One and PS4 until
William Hill.
Let me know. Brock Lesnar calling for a spot on the Joe Rogan Experience. Great to have Lesnar in the building. Clearly an interested observer here tonight.
Well, he was pointing to the octagon, and he was saying something to Dana, and Dana was nodding his head. I don't know if that means whoever wins, I want to fight them.
He said, put me in there with those two.
Yeah, put me in there with
That's what he said. He said, put me in there with one of them.
I mean, I'm so baffled by that last fight. I really don't know what to say. I mean, we're calling for Brock Lesnar, a guy who's been doing pro wrestling for the past 5 years, to jump back in, well, other than the Mark Hunt fight, come back in here and save us. This is crazy.
Well, good news is we have a super fight upon us. It is the rarest of rarities in combat sports. A clash of champion versus champion tonight. In short order, we will see if Stipe Miocic can continue his remarkable heavyweight run and spoil Daniel Cormier's attempt to make history.
I always said that when I started doing this, I wanted to be remembered.
And that is it. And still, Daniel Cormier has done it.
What can I do to ensure that every time people talk about the greats, they mention Daniel Cormier? For me, to become a 2-division champion, it means legacy. Legacy stays forever. Everything else fades away. I need to go out and try to make a statement. They call the heavyweight champ the baddest man on the planet. I beat Stipe Miocic and become the heavyweight champion and a light heavyweight champion. I'm not only the baddest man on the planet, I may be the greatest fighter of all time.
Everyone, doesn't pick me. Everyone thinks I'm not worthy enough.
My whole life I've been told you can't do this, you can't do that. But I'm sick of it. I'm sick of always being doubted. I have nothing to prove. I just shut people up.
Oh, that is it. Stipe Miocic.
I'll keep doing it until the day I die. Until I'm 6 feet deep. Don't tell me I can't do something because I'm going to do something. And kiss my ass.
Oh, big right hand there, and that is it. Stipe Miocic. Big shots. It is all over.
This guy's a phenom. He's 1 in a million.
Oh!
Well, guess what? He lost.
Oh, he's hurt.
I defended it 3 times. No one's ever done that. I'm the greatest heavyweight. That's still mine. I ain't going nowhere.
The Oklahoma State University All-American Daniel Cormier.
At the beginning of my career, I was a heavyweight, and I fought there for 13 fights. I fought a great fighter. I fought Josh Barnett when he was in the top 5 in the world.
Barnett now the high cross and a slam takedown by Cormier.
I fought Bigfoot Silva when he was in the top 5 in the world when he had just beat Fedor Emelianenko. I beat Frank Mir when he was in the top 5 in the world. I beat Roy Nelson when he was ranked number 6 in the world. I had a ton of success up there, and I intend to keep it rolling at UFC 226. I mean, most guys wouldn't do what I'm attempting to do, but I wouldn't do it if I didn't expect to win.
It is all over! Daniel Cormier!
I want to be a guy that goes down in history.
Yeah, I don't worry about legacy. I'm just going to keep winning.
Stipe Miocic on the world champ!
DC's good at talking, too. He's a great talker. He talks things up. Well, I'm going to shut you up.
The baddest man on the planet, ladies and gentlemen. Hell yeah!
I think Stipe Miocic is a phenomenal champion, but at the end of the day, all good things come to an end, and I'm going to be the one to beat Stipe Miocic. On July 7th, I become the 2nd double champion in UFC history.
No one will ever take this away from me. Not going to happen. I worked way too damn hard to get this belt. I ain't giving up this belt for a long time. I tell you that right now. So I don't really care who I fight. I'm going to win.
the two-time United States Olympic wrestler, the UFC light heavyweight champion, now the head coach of Gilroy High School's wrestling team as well, the future Hall of Famer, Daniel Cormier has arrived.
There's two things to take into consideration when you think about Daniel Cormier fighting Stipe Miocic as a heavyweight. One, the amount of success that he's had at heavyweight. Two, he's a short guy for the heavyweight division, and Stipe's not a kicker. Stipe is far more of a puncher. He's absolutely capable of throwing kicks, but that's not in his wheelhouse of standard techniques. He uses takedown defense and sharp boxing to win. Daniel's going to be lower than him. It'll be difficult to reach him. Daniel's going to try to shoot in and get underneath him and try to take him down. It's a really interesting matchup.
The key for this matchup for me is when does Daniel Cormier have the intelligence to clinch? A lot of this is trying to make it a little bit boring at times. He's going to have to grab a hold of Stipe, because if he does not, Stipe is a smart fighter. He doesn't throw one punch at a time like a lot of the opponents that he's fought. He throws punches and bunches. He starts to the bottom. He utilizes his jab. He has boxing fundamentals, and he starts with kicks.
Tonight's Prep Point is brought to you by Modelo Especial, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925. Some have suggested a rematch with Alexander Gustafsson was as difficult a fight, if not more difficult, than this particular challenge. It's been a long time since we've seen DC at heavyweight. Dom, how much do you think the division has changed and evolved since 2013?
Oh, I mean, I agree. I think Alexander Gustafsson is the biggest challenge at 205 pounds for DC. Although this is a challenge in itself, and he's making a super fight for the fans, and he's making a super fight for Stipe, who's pretty much cleaned out the division. Why not make this fight happen, especially against a guy who's been extremely successful and undefeated at heavyweight and has an Olympic background and currently has a title. Do not sleep on Daniel Cormier. He has the skill set, he has the mentality, and he knows how to win fights, and I truly believe he has the power with this extra weight on. I think that'll help his durability, and I think it's going to help him be able to carry the weight and land with more power to potentially have knockout power at this weight class, even against Stipe.
I completely agree with you, and I particularly agree with you in that there's no other viable heavyweight contenders that are interesting and compelling. Who else is there other than Brock Lesnar? Who else is there that can sell pay-per-views? Who else is it that people are interested in? Volkov, that's the only guy, Alexander Volkov, and unfortunately, people don't know about him yet. He might be the best heavyweight in the world right now, other than these two gentlemen that are in the cage right now.
Well, Daniel Cormier has been on every big stage in mixed martial arts that you can imagine. He believes without a shadow of a doubt that he is the superior mixed martial arts athlete, and here and now he will try to prove as much and leave here a two-division UFC champion. So here is the no-nonsense UFC heavyweight champion, Stipe Miocic. On paper, Joe, this is the most accomplished UFC heavyweight champion this octagon has ever seen.
Absolutely. I mean, the consensus best ever, really. I mean, you think about the guys he's beaten, what he's done, and the fact that he's the only guy to ever defend the title 3 times, and an opportunity to break 4 tonight if he wins against DC, and has the most disinterested expression you'll ever see from a world champion entering into a cage fight. I mean, look, this guy's a beast. He does everything great. He's an incredibly hard worker, still an active firefighter, maintains that job while a world champion. And just a phenomenal human being, and a perfect example of what we would aspire and what we would like a champion to be.
Yeah, I agree. He stays out of trouble. He doesn't talk trash in a negative way. I mean, he'll still talk it when he needs to, but he's an example by the way he acts. He's not an example by the things that he says and getting in trouble. And he's a true example. And not to mention, he's been a firefighter pretty much his whole career. The amount of stress that this man deals with on a daily basis makes this seem like nothing. I really believe that. Being a firefighter is a nasty line of work. Seeing things you've never seen before, exchanging your life 3 days on, 3 days off for everybody else. He takes that in here, and this is just a day off for him.
I think you made a very good point with that.
And there is Machine Gun Kelly, of course. His music blaring through the speakers as usual as the heavyweight champion makes his walk to the octagon here tonight. 6 consecutive wins for Stipe. A lot of people think he has the power advantage. Very interesting to see how they match up in terms of the speed tonight.
Yeah, I would absolutely say he has the power advantage. The far bigger, naturally larger man with less body fat on him. But DC has power himself and for sure has a wrestling advantage.
Well, Croatia took care of business in the World Cup earlier today. We will see if the Croatian-American can follow suit now. This Tale of the Tape brought to you by Modelo Especial. Brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925. Miocic 35, Cormier will be 40 on the 20th of March. Stipe, the taller man by 5 inches. We will see if he can maximize what is a 7.5-inch reach advantage. Of course, Cormier coming in 3.5 pounds heavier than the heavyweight champion. All right, now for the introductions for our main event super fight. Here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. Presented by Modelo, sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Chairman Anthony Marnell, Executive Director Bob Bennett, Commissioners Stacey Alonso, Christopher Alt, Dallas E. Hahn, and Robert McBeath. Our 3 judges scoring this contest at Octagon side are Dave Hagan, Chris Lee, and Glenn Trowbridge. And when the action begins, our referee in charge of the Octagon, Mark Goddard. This bout is sponsored by Modelo Especial, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925. Metro PCS brings you knockout coverage of the UFC on a pound-for-pound strong network that covers 99% of the people in the U.S. And Motel 6, ready to tap out? Check into Motel 6 and save. We'll leave the light on for you. Book online at motel6.com. Now, for those in attendance and UFC fans watching around the world, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Live from the sold-out T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, it's time! 5 rounds for the undisputed UFC Heavyweight Championship of the world. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 20 wins, 1 loss, 1 no contest. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 246 pounds. Fighting out of San Jose, California, presenting the former Strikeforce Heavyweight Grand Prix champion and the reigning undisputed UFC Light Heavyweight champion, the challenger, Daniel D.C. Cormier. And now introducing the champion, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 18 wins, 2 losses. He stands 6 feet 4 inches tall, weighing in at 242.5 pounds. Fighting out of Independence, Ohio, presenting the reigning, defending, undisputed UFC Heavyweight Champion of the world, Stipe Miocic. Okay, gentlemen, you understand the rules you're fighting under? I want you to listen at all times. Keep yourself protected. When I say stop, you stop. Touch gloves. Let's do this.
Never before has a UFC light heavyweight champion moved up to challenge the active heavyweight champion. That is our reality here and now in Las Vegas tonight. Daniel Cormier trying to leave here with a piece of unprecedented UFC history in this modern era. Stipe Miocic trying to successfully defend this belt for a fourth time. And at long last, the action begins right now. Tonight's Fight Clock brought to you by Modelo Especial, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925. Cormier in the white, Stipe in the black and gold, befitting a champion. Appears to be a pro-Stipe crowd here tonight. Miocic trying to close the distance here early.
And there's the clinch DC's going to look for. There's the clinch. He wants the clinch right when you see Stipe start throwing combos. Watch DC look for underhooks and to break the posture of Stipe.
Nice low kick by Daniel. Stipe has been landing a couple of hard chops. Ooh, big right hand by Daniel.
First clinch situation here, Dom.
Yeah, and it's because DC, notice how DC gives the underhook because he wants Stipe to grab him. He'd rather get in these types of scenarios early than be punching back and forth with Stipe. Create a wrestling match. That's where DC's comfortable. And Stipe looks very strong. This looks much stronger right here.
He's landing some big punches too.
The height is a real problem when you're giving up underhooks. So you see how DC has the overhook here. He's lifting, Stipe can lift DC right off the mat because of the height difference. So DC's the one who needs the underhooks. He's going to win in these scenarios here.
Cormier had some issues early on in training camp with the extra weight, but felt as good as he's ever felt towards the end of camp in terms of his sparring.
Last time, guys. Watch the back of the head, Daniel. It's going to work, guys. You want to stay there, show me something.
Miocic controlling his right wrist here. 2 minutes gone by, round one of a possible fight.
That's some tremendous strength to be able to hold on to DC's hand like that. And that might be shocking for DC. This is a real heavyweight.
Looked like DC landed a right hand on that ear. Stiff jab is there for Cormier.
You immediately could tell the size difference.
Watch those hands, guys. Keep the fingers
when they grab each other. That's where you could tell the most. And that's what I was saying. When you're grappling, this weight difference is huge.
Oh, nice knee from Stipe.
Stipe's hitting him with some really good shots. And these are probably some punches, other than Rumble Johnson, probably some of the hardest shots he's ever felt. Nice knee to the body there.
Looks like some swelling under the right eye of Stipe.
Watch the fingers, Daniel. Keep your hands
And something that DC's coaches were all saying is he's hitting harder. The weight is making him knock people out more. We don't want to talk about it, but he really is knocking everybody out. So let's see, I mean, if the power really translates for him. It looks like it is. He's already got Stipe a little bit cut in that eye from the jab and the uppercuts that he's throwing once he breaks the posture of Stipe in that clinch. Ooh, nice hook by Stipe.
Like maybe an elbow from Miocic. Nice combination from the champ.
And that's what I'm talking about. Stipe throws combinations. There's not a lot of heavyweights that throw combos like that.
Oh, he stunned him with that jab. And DC pops him a couple of times.
Already been more punches thrown.
Big 1-2 from Cormier.
So he's still doing that lean, Cormier, but he doesn't got to worry about a southpaw left high kick coming up to his face, so it's not even a threat.
Oh, it looked like something caught Miocic in the eye.
Stop, one time. Stay there. I saw. Over there. No coaching.
We'll have the production try to isolate that, folks, to see what it was. I didn't catch it.
Daniel, come here.
Here we go. They've got it. They're on the
Listen,
ball.
my friend. I need you to clean it up. I've already said 3 times, keep the hands closed. I know it's difficult when you're coming together. I need the hands closed, okay? Keep them closed. Come back in. Come in. Let's go.
So a stern warning from Mark Goddard,
Keep
who
the
said to
hand closed.
DC he's already warned him 3
Close
times.
the hand, Daniel.
And there's another warning from Mark Goddard. So we'll see if DC can break that habit here. 1 minute to go in round one.
That was horrible. There's a switch kick to the body by DC. Oh, nice low kick by the champion. And that's something you don't see a lot from Stipe. Stipe does not throw a lot of kicks, primarily boxing based.
Miocic landed a significant right hand there.
Already more strikes landed and thrown during the entire Derek Lewis-Francis Ngannou fight. Oh, look at that, 1-2 by DC.
And then he clinches. Exactly what you gotta do. Oh, he hurt it! He got it done! He got it done!
Daniel Cormier is the UFC heavyweight champion!
Oh man, that is history, ladies and gentlemen. You'll never see it again.
Look at Stipe kick. He just stood up, but he's still hurt.
Yep.
One of the greatest of all time, Daniel Cormier. Unprecedented, rarefied air.
Incredible.
The fact that he won by knockout.
That's what all his coaches were saying. He translates well at this weight. The weight he wears well, he hits harder. He's knocked out everybody he's trained with. That's what they were saying, and here it is.
Stipe Miocic set a new standard for this division, and Daniel put all of that to bed tonight.
Insane. You'll see it again. Look at this here. They're in the clinch. He breaks free. Bam! On the chin. Stipe goes down. Boom, boom, boom. Out cold. Crazy. Look at this again. They're in the clinch. DC lands a perfect right hand. The legs go out. Boom!
And right here, this is what it's about. Clinching at the right time and then dirty boxing at the right time to nullify the height and the power of Stipe from distance. That's what Cormier had to do. He had to choose the right time to box at distance with combinations and then close in the gap. As we see him grab to the clinch, and now he dirty boxes right as he breaks away. It creates opportunities for him. Boom! Overhand right in the clinch, which is basically one of his staples. He got a good overhand right, but you see the power is serious in Daniel Cormier at this weight class. He's a true heavyweight to beat Stipe.
Well, and you said before the fight you believed him to be a true heavyweight. He is now 14-0 in this division, and these are going to be happy tears for the new baddest man on the planet, potentially with 2 UFC titles to now defend.
And now, I think we're going to see Daniel Cormier say, "What you got, Brock Lesnar? I just got a feeling. What do you think?"
The official decision is brought to you by Metro PCS. Get knockout coverage of the UFC on a network that covers 99% of people in the US. The night belongs to Daniel Cormier. We all are witnessing a piece of UFC history here tonight as Cormier ends the storied heavyweight title reign of the Croatian-American Stipe Miocic. They are all standing inside this T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas tonight. Daniel Cormier literally setting the mixed martial arts world on its axis. And how's that for a victory lap? Some said maybe he's coming in too heavy. A lot of speculation, betting line moving all over the place, Dominic. But Daniel Cormier reigns supreme tonight as he upends Stipe Miocic. One final time tonight. Here is Bruce Buffer to make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Mark Goddard has called a stop to this contest at 4 minutes, 33 seconds of the very first round. Declaring the winner by knockout and new undisputed UFC heavyweight champion of the world, Daniel DC Cormier.
Take it all in, my friend. Take it all in. How does that feel?
Joe, I was a heavyweight for a long time, and I loved the division. I never knew what I could become, but tonight I got the answer. I'm a 2-division champion, baby!
You were in the clinch, and you connected with this picture-perfect right hand, and you saw him go limp. Talk me through this.
In the study, we noticed that Stipe backs out of the clinch with his hands a little bit low. And I was able to throw this right hand. Hey, I weighed in a little heavy yesterday. It's because I was knocking out all of my training partners. Now I got to do it in the octagon.
Now, DC, this brings you to a very elite class of human beings, one of the rare people to win titles in 2 different weight classes, and one of only 2 to hold 2 weight classes simultaneously.
Joe, I am 39 years old. And I've been second a lot of times. But today, I finally accomplished everything. From crying in this very same octagon last year, almost a year to the day, to becoming the UFC heavyweight champion. Joe, it is the most amazing thing I've ever experienced. Now, Joe, let me get this microphone for a second. Hey, listen to DC. Listen to DC. There's a guy that I've known for a long time. He's a wrestler. He's an All-American. He's a former UFC champion. I never thought I would fight him, but Brock Lesnar, get your ass in here.
Folks, I'm here with Brock Lesnar. Brock, what does this all mean to you, Brock?
Let me tell you something. I walked into this building and watched the heavyweight disasters from the beginning. Nagano's a piece of shit. Miocic's a piece of shit. DC, I'm coming for you, motherfucker!
Get out of my octagon. I got some pictures to take.
Come on, DC. Get out of here.
Daniel Cormier prophetic when he said to his family a few days ago, Daddy's got us. And there he is with his kids, Marquita, Daniel Jr. Daddy had you tonight. That post-fight interview brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3. Get the new limited time Icon Edition on Xbox One and PS4 until July 17th. And receive exclusive in-game content plus 5 new playable Icon fighters, including Kimbo Slice, Tito Ortiz, and more. UFC 226, Miocic versus Cormier has been brought to you by Harley-Davidson. See your dealer today and learn to ride like some of your favorite UFC fighters with Harley-Davidson Riding Academy. Live your legend. Motel 6. When you're ready to tap out, check in at Motel 6.
Ivanov 16-1. Incredible record, big heavyweight, Sambo veteran, great submission skills, outstanding knockouts in his own right. He can finish a fight anywhere.
This one continues for quick, and that is it. How do you like it?
But not many people have to make their debut in the heavyweight division against a fighter like Junior Dos Santos. That is a big name. He's a former champion. He's been there. He knows what it's like to wear gold. He's a massive heavyweight, incredible with his range, great overhand right, can knock out anyone in the division, incredibly experienced. He hits you and he puts you on another planet.
The timing and the power of Junior Dos Santos.
It's not about my opponent. It's about me. If he wants to see the best of Junior Dos Santos, that's what he's gonna get. I'm not underestimating Blagoy. It doesn't matter if you're favorite or underdog. It's a fight. Who wants it more will win.
It will be a tough challenge, but I welcome the challenge.
Huge shot from Ivana.
I will show him who is the better fighter. I know that I can knock him out. If I connect one of these on your face, you're done. Doesn't matter what he does, I'll beat him.
The unauthorized reproduction or distribution of this copyright work is illegal and punishable under law. How do you think that walk feels for Daniel Cormier right about now, Joe?
Pretty damn sweet. Man. And I think he's already counting the Brock Lesnar pay-per-view dollars.
I'm telling you.
You know, that was one of the most surreal things I've ever seen inside the octagon. Brock Lesnar comes in there with the cowboy boots and his pants tucked in for some reason and starts pushing DC and calls Miocic a piece of shit and Ngannou a piece of shit. I mean, the whole thing was insane.
It was hilarious,
but it's WWE comes to the UFC, and then, but they're actually going to fight for real.
Yeah, what's funny, Joe, what you're saying is right. It is WWE,
yeah.
But the thing is, we don't have, this is actually what fighters are. WWE, they're putting on a show. We are actually like them, except we follow through and actually have the real fight. The difference is Brock Lesnar can actually follow through and do that as well. A lot of the pro wrestlers can't. Yeah. Brock Lesnar is real.
Yes, he's real. He's real, and he's real fucking big.
And he's enormous. How did he even get through there?
Exactly.
As far, though, as tonight's result is concerned, perhaps the least surprised man in this arena is Daniel Cormier, who has been telling everybody all week, I'm more skilled than this guy, I'm a better athlete than this fighter.
Going straight back.
And everything that DC said, he took great exception to the betting line. Everything he said sort of came to fruition tonight.
I know he believed that, but to see it come to fruition had to be stunning. It seemed like it was stunning for him, and one of the things that he said that was so powerful was that he said, I came in second many times. And the fact that he had lost in this very building almost a year to the day, and then comes back and knocks out the heavyweight champion of the world in spectacular fashion in the first round. I mean, this is just beyond stunning. I mean, this is so crazy. Let's watch it again. I mean, this is so crazy. I mean, he's so much smaller. I mean, you look at him, he's carrying around so much extra weight, but he was saying, look at that, boom, that right hand, boom, boom, boom. I mean, crazy. Who would have expected that? And the way he landed that right hand from inside the clinch, over the shoulder, cranks it on him, and then tees off on him, clean punches, knocks him unconscious, his legs go limp, his arms go limp. Crazy.
Well, what I love about it was the technique. I mean, the technique that DC used was basically he kept giving Miocic the underhook, which is unconventional. And then by giving the underhook, all he's got to do is limp arm, and he goes under the underhook side, which sets up the angle, and now he's got the free arm to throw the right hook. I mean, you saw him setting that up as the fight went on. It's just he finally landed it. And to land it with that much power, I promise you he's been practicing that, guys.
Yeah, and the way we were saying that he was knocking training partners out, he hits much harder as a heavyweight. You know, I think DC...
Look at him limp arm here. Watch him limp arm. He'll limp arm under, and now he's got the angle, and that gave him the power and the angle he needed.
Tremendous.
Very, very technical.
Crazy. But what the thing that shocks me the most about it, other than the fact that he just knocked out Stipe Miocic the way he did it, is that he was probably draining himself. I mean, he's a guy who likes to carry weight.
No doubt.
He was probably draining himself to make light heavyweight.
Yeah, he definitely was. And, you know, Joe, sometimes you're always talking about, man, these guys are draining the weight. I'd like to see them at their actual weight. The thing you got to remember is DC can go up in weight because he has the wrestling base to dictate if he's on the ground or on his feet. And that is the huge factor in weight classes, is who can control where the fight goes. DC has the accolades that he controls that aspect except against one man, and we all know who that's been. And he's gone out and now moved up to a weight class and proven and almost erased those losses because of the fashion that he won this and the person that he just beat, who's been unbeatable in Miocic.
John Jones has got to be at home right now, pulling his hair out. Just going crazy.
Not a good night for him.
What is happening in the world?
And when you think about Daniel Cormier and the athletic pedigree, right, this is a guy who got a full scholarship on football to go to LSU, but he wanted to wrestle. In 2004, lost the bronze medal match. In 2008, was unable to compete. And even though he realized the light heavyweight championship and defended it 3 times in the UFC, this was the breakthrough moment, clearly.
Yes,
for Daniel.
Clearly, you see by his reaction, the way he expressed himself. I mean, this is his real confirmation, confirmed his championship status. That was a real championship fight. This isn't a fight where John Jones tested positive for something and he fought the other contender and won the title. This is the real title. This is the actual real title, and he won it beating the consensus best heavyweight of all time.
I hate to ask you to put this into context, but since you've been in this seat for all of the big fights, you were there when Conor McGregor became a 2-division champion. This feels like one of the 2 or 3, if not the biggest moment in UFC history. Just massive what this man, seemingly against a lot of odds, was able to accomplish.
Stunning. I mean, it's hard to quantify what's number 1 and what's number 2. I mean, there have been so many amazing fights in the UFC, but this is clearly one of the greatest results in terms of most spectacular, most stunning, most shocking, and a guy who's one of the nicest guys in the history of the world.
Right.
I mean, DC is a gem of a human being.
He is.
He just got personality of the year. They made a category for him in a Fighters magazine or something, and he got personality of the year. And he's also got another job. He's an analyst on the desk. How many athletes are active analysts that are also competing at the highest level? He's one of them. He just won he's a 2-division champion, an analyst, a color commentator. He does everything.
Next to another one.
Yeah, but he's a 2-division champion that did it.
He is.
That's a big deal.
It's
the thing that he just did is extremely motivating, and if you watch that, you need to go back and watch it 10 more times and get your kids into Greco wrestling, get your kids into wrestling.
And please. I love how you're pointing out the technical aspects of giving that giving the underhook, going with that limp arm.
That is Greco, 101. You give the underhook, and if you can't get it, you go underneath, you limp arm, and I mean, that is textbook Greco-Roman wrestling with dirty boxing mixed into it, and that is mixed martial arts. It's beautiful. Bam! Right, and if you look the way he limp arms and goes around the waist, that waist grab is what gets Stipe to walk towards the right hand. Waist grab, now he goes towards the right hand, which gives him the power. Because if he lets DC grab that waist, Miocic goes for a ride. So that's all set up, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get it twisted. DC was looking for that. Watch it early in the fight. Watch him give the underhook in order to get that position later in the fight.
And look at this, arguably one of the greatest moment in his entire career.
Absolutely amazing. Now, I won't go to you guys for pro wrestling insight. I know you're not great sources, but Daniel Cormier is the biggest pro wrestling fan on this roster. He's a staple at WrestleMania. For him to have a moment with Brock Lesnar like that inside the octagon, truly what dreams are made.
Well, it was a dangerous moment when this giant gorilla gets in there and pushes him.
Big, though. That wasn't fake either. There's nothing fake about Brock. I want everybody to know this is, while it is WWE and this is Brock Lesnar, he's not acting. This is real. That's the beautiful thing about being a fighter is we don't have to act, people. We can actually do it. I can push you and call you an idiot, and then we can hash it out at the end of the day. And that's what's beautiful about this sport, and this is as real as it gets. It's not a game. These two will fight, and this exchange was genuine. Even if they talked before, they would fight right here if they let him, I promise.
Well, listen, Brock Lesnar has been involved in some actual fights in real wrestling matches when he felt like guys were going too hard on him. There's a video of him knocking a dude senseless because the guy was going too hard.
There's no doubt he's a lunatic.
Yeah, he's a maniac. Yeah.
And he's not paying for that camera, I'll tell you that.
How's your hand, Joe? Is your hand all right? You banged it on the camera. You sure?
Yeah, it's fine.
Well, Francis Ngannou, Derek Lewis, you're off the hook because Daniel Cormier.
Yeah, he erased that moment. I mean, we're not even thinking about that moment.
Goodness.
I mean, but what a great night. I mean, what an amazing night of fights. I mean,
I'm glad to be part of it.
From top to bottom. Yeah,
I mean, we got to be part of that, Joe.
I mean, from Paulo Costa knocking out Uriah Hall to Mike Perry's performance over Paul Felder. I mean, it was just so many amazing, amazing fights tonight.
All right, International Fight Week 2018 is in the books. We saved the best moment for last as DC puts a fitting capstone on it. Joe Rogan, Dominic Cruz, great job.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen.
Always fun.
Here's a look at what's coming up inside the octagon. Next Saturday, the UFC makes its first stop in Boise, Idaho for a battle of the big men. Former champion Junior Dos Santos faces Bulgarian Sambo specialist Blagoy Ivanov in a pivotal heavyweight matchup. It's FS1 UFC Fight Night. Dos Santos versus Ivanov, Saturday, July 14th at 10 p.m. Eastern on FS1. Sunday, July 22nd, the UFC heads to Hamburg, Germany as top light heavyweights lock up. Shogun Rua faces Anthony Lionheart Smith in the main event. A special Sunday showdown with an early start time, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on FS1. Big Fox closes out the month of July with a second lightweight showdown between two of the world's best, as Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier settle the score from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. The Fox UFC Fight Night main card begins at 8 in the East, 5 in the West. And we are back on pay-per-view in August with a pair of championship rematches. In the main event, TJ Dillashaw puts the title on the line against the man he beat to reclaim the gold, Cody Garbrandt. Plus, the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, Demetrius Johnson, goes for a 12th defense against top challenger Henry Cejudo. It's UFC 227, August 4th from Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. It is only on pay-per-view. You can watch the UFC 226 post-fight press conference at UFC.com. The UFC 226 post-fight show with Karen Bryant, Kenny Florian, Michael Bisping, and Megan O'Leary is already underway on FS1. For those of you watching in Canada, you can flip it over to TSN as soon as we're done. Well, still not sure I believe what I just saw, but UFC 226 is in the books from Vegas. The executive producers of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC President Dana White, Ari Emanuel, and Patrick Weitzel. Our Executive VP of Operations and Production is Craig Borsari. Our coordinating producer, Zach Candido. Tonight's show has been directed by the venerable Anthony Pasquale, Giordano, T-Mobile Arena. Witnessing some historic UFC moments here tonight. Showtime Pettis announced his reemergence in the lightweight division by finishing Michael Chiesa. Donald Cowboy Cerrone, Chuck Liddell among the stars on hand here in Las Vegas tonight. Platinum Mike Perry put on a show against Paul Felder. All the blood you could handle in that one in the end on split scorecards. It was Platinum Mike Perry spoiling the welterweight debut of the Irish Dragon, Paul Felder. Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis left a whole lot to be desired. In the end, it was a close fight without much fighting in it, but the Black Beast moving on up in the rankings after outpointing Francis Ngannou, and that set the stage, of course, for the super fight. Brock Lesnar was on hand for Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier. Both men came in with belts. DC will head back to Northern California with two of them after pulling off a stunner here tonight. With that, for Joe Rogan and Dominic Cruz, John Anik saying so long from Las Vegas, Nevada. We will see you next month for UFC 227 from Los Angeles. Good night.